welcome to Eat with the Owner. Today's episode, 29th, I guess.
29, wow.
Yeah. Welcome. Your name Dan, right?
That's right.
How to say your last name, Dan?
Vineberg.
Vineberg.
Yeah.
So it's like German or?
Yeah, it's Vineberg actually means like a field. It's German for like a field of wine, essentially, or like a vineyard, you know.
Yeah, it's
but
a lot of wine.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I found out when I had this the small video shows, I was trying to find some interesting people in Montreal to be guests. So I googled and then find your video. It's amazing. Have the new travel.
Well, I don't know if I'm that interesting, but thank you.
It's amazing. And some videos you ask recently I guess several months ago asked random people in the street about what they like and what they hate about Montreal. That's the most question I really ask as well.
You enjoyed that video?
That's amazing.
You know, that one actually,
especially the last one you said you don't want to show his face in front of camera he hated the smell of marijuana, right?
Yeah, I mean this guy who I mean most people were okay with the camera, but as you said, this one guy, I asked him what he hated, and he said, yeah, he hates that there's the smell of marijuana is everywhere in the city, but he didn't want to be on camera, so I just explained that for him. But I thought it was a funny thing to include. So
I really like the idea because Montreal is really it's a mega city, it's a big city. And
I could probably do 5 more videos like that, part 2, part 3, because everyone's answer is
exactly, and especially for us, me is immigrant.
Yeah,
I came here 16 years ago, so I lived the whole 16 years in Montreal, not even Toronto. I'm an IT guy, IT engineer, so a lot of my friends, once they get experience here, they always look either Toronto or the Bay Area. Silicon Valley.
Oh, so this is where they start, and then they want to jump somewhere else.
The reason they jump most of the time is average salary for the same position is much lower than Toronto and Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's true.
And also they have a lot of them. They have trouble on French language. For a lot of us, IT guys from China. You have to learn some level of English for sure because you program or whatever. But for us to have a second foreign language like French, it's almost impossible, mission impossible.
I would say even mission impossible. I would say even other Canadians. I grew up in Manitoba, and
your French is not very.
Perfect, right?
I saw some video in your videos you did speak French
Yeah, because people are always like, why aren't you making the videos in French? You know, it will always be a talking
Your French
point.
Is pretty good, I guess. You interview some people in the park, the one guy came from France 30 years ago on vacation, so he said came here on vacation 35 years ago and they never left. Looks like illegal or something.
Well, when I first arrived in Montreal, part of it is learning, and then part of it is confidence.
Okay.
Right? I didn't have the confidence to do an interview with someone in French.
Okay.
So, for example, that video you were talking about, things you love and things you hate in Montreal. I mean, if I'm just stopping random people on the street and asking them that question, I would say almost half of the people, more than half French will be their first language, but almost half will be reply to me in French. Okay. And if I can't reply to them in French, I'll be embarrassed. I'll be they'll be like, what, you're making interviews, but you don't speak French? What's going on? So,
if you don't speak French, go back to China.
Yeah, so now, or go back to Manitoba.
Manitoba.
It's the same thing, right? Yeah. So now that my confidence has improved a bit, I feel like I can have those conversations, and every time you have one, you feel better. It's like, oh, I did it. Okay. I'm not perfect, but they understood me. I did a video, and then it just grows and grows and grows. Okay. But yeah, that first step, first time you try to have more than a couple of sentences, it's really hard. And my Spanish is even worse than my French. My Spanish, I'm at that beginning level where I can't have a conversation. Great. So it's a journey.
But also, I really want to answer that question for you.
You love and I wanted to know,
Actually, Montreal is really, before I settled in Montreal and immigrated to Canada in Montreal, I traveled a lot because the first company they sent me on the business I've been to a lot of cities in the world. Like Rio de Janeiro is really amazing. London.
Oh, you've been to Rio?
I stayed there for
the
4 months.
The beaches.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all like Copacabana,
wow.
that thing. So 4 months there, that's like a heaven. Yeah, that's like a heaven. But like overall, the city, Montreal, the scenery, also one of the best. Especially the summer. It's amazing the temperature, and also if you look at from like the location, physical location, the Montreal is like the two huge rivers and wrapping the Montreal's island. And then you go anywhere like a 30-minute drive, you can have a national park.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So I guess almost very unique in the world. The scenery itself is so beautiful. It's crazy, and also the like a lot of good stuff in Montreal.
So that's what you love, the location?
And also the maybe lot of things good, especially like the culture here, and really relaxing, and the kind of you have the little bit European and a little bit North America. It's good mix, and a lot of immigrants, the different people, and then people more relaxed here because they don't judge you. It looks like everybody is coming from somewhere. It's not like you have a majority of the group is staying here forever. Other people that are outsiders, coming from some. Here is everywhere, so it's like you don't feel like you are the others. Like I feel like right away. I feel like I don't feel too uncomfortable if you are in like majority of they're all like British people, and then you feel like my English is not good or something.
I mean, when I travel, that's one of the things people ask me the most is like, tell me about Canadian culture. They'll say like, what's traditional Canadian food? And of course, you can tell people like poutine. Like there's a few...
maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are the big two. But then what I try to explain is like, really for me, Canadian food is the fact that you can get food from like any country on Earth.
Country.
That's what makes Canada special. Cities like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, like there's not many places in the world where you can get good food from any place. Maybe not as good as that country, but like still very, very good. So I think the mixing of cultures is Canadian culture. Like that is what makes our country special.
Very inclusive.
Because when you travel, you see like most places are not like here.
Especially, it feel very comfortable for me as now cool. my being here 16 years. Now my English, I feel comfortable with my English level. And even 16 years ago, even that time, I felt like I get along. I got along, so it's not bad.
I mean, you've done like almost 30 episodes of this, so you must be. When was the first one? When did you start this?
I guess in May 2000 last year.
Okay. Were you nervous at the beginning? Were you like, "Oh, my English," or you were confident
actually,
at the beginning?
I have thick skin already. I don't even care that much because I'm 40, 42, 43 years old. So I passed that age.
Okay, that's good to know. That goes away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a big deal. The worst case, they don't like you. They don't like your business. The restaurant go under. It's not crazy. But the things I hate about Montreal is like because it's such a great city, and it looks like the whole management of the city just kind of, it's not bad, but you're supposed to be much better than the current situation. The really outrageous situation is the potholes. It's the road.
The roads.
I don't know. Like probably when you introduce like Montreal the video, or some people ask you because you have the travel guide channel or whatever. So people gonna ask what's good about Montreal, or you show some friends in the road. You look at those kind of different sizes of the holes on the. Probably you don't want to say cover your eyes. You want your friends cover their eyes.
So. I was talking to someone about. That's funny that you say that. To cover your eyes. I was talking to someone.
You still feel the bump.
I was talking to someone about Montreal, and they're like also making like they run a photography channel around Montreal, and they were saying to me like, I never show the construction cones. They're like, I'm very careful. I want Montreal to look good, so I never show the cones. I never show the potholes. He's like very careful to like avoid that thing that Montrealers sometimes don't like. But for me, I was thinking like, I always show the cones. I make jokes about them sometimes because to me, you can't have like a fake view of your city, right? You have to love it. You have to hate it. You have to, everyone knows there's good and bad, and that's what makes it special. Like nowhere on the world is perfect. So just like share the whole picture, and then people can see it, and then decide if it's for them.
Yeah. I have the issue with some of them is the force in the municipal level, the mayor level, city level. Some is the province level, right? But both of them, for me, like I've been here a long time. So, but I voted also. But for me, all this, like either mayor or the governor or the premier, like they never pass. If they can look at the condition like this, they all know it's because of the corruption. It's this kind of quality. You have the contracts over and over again, and there's always the corruption of the system. But it's very difficult to fix that issue. It's a systematic issue. It's very difficult. They can get a pass on this one, but if they are not looking at the issue, they don't see it every day, or they don't address it to tell people we have this issue. If you cannot fix it, at least you tell the issue. And then maybe some other people brave enough or smart enough come up with a solution to make it better. But the fact that nobody even mentioned that, like the mayor or the premier, they never mentioned this. They only talk nice things, the good gestures, the virtue signaling, whatever. They talk they look good. But the problem is, it's the biggest elephant in the room.
And people get used to
exactly.
Like
even the journalists, they're not doing their job. They suppose that I always say, before you say open your mouth in public, the press conference, anybody, even the journalists, before you ask question, just say the word potholes. The mayor, the premier, before you open your mouth to say anything, just you need to raise the awareness of the issue, then somebody may come up with a solution. It's very difficult.
Well, first of all, cheers.
Oh, thank you. Actually, this is a green tea, a good green tea.
Good.
The green tea in the restaurant is very bad. This I brought from home.
From home.
Yeah, from home. The Chinese green tea.
So I'm family now. I get the home.
The home
nice
version.
Yeah. That is good.
So
I have the green tea, just from the cheapest, like 100 pack from the supermarket, and I can taste the difference.
We charge customers $1 per person, so we're not making many of those. But like, but the only issue I really hate is not only the reality of we have the really bad roads.
Yeah. The
reality is the factor, like nobody even cared, especially the journalists, and also the officials from the city, from the province. They even not saying it. They should say it every day, until it is some people with a lot of genius people. But even you're genius, you have creativity, but you have to be brave to tackle the issue. This issue, like the root, could be very, very deep.
And it's not just annoying; it's also like a real safety issue.
It's real. Like
I just biked here, and like once or twice, I had to really swerve around the bike.
Kind of accidents.
And if you fall over, like something really bad could happen.
A lot of cars they want to avoid. Even they have the FSD, full self drive, from Tesla. FSD.
Autopilot.
Autopilot FSD. I'm pretty sure the FSD gonna fail Montreal 100%. Exactly. They have to deal with all this. They find a best path to avoid, and I guess the CPU, the brain of the FSD Tesla car, they're gonna fail. They overwhelm them and kind of overheating of processing those potholes.
The part of China you came from, was it cold? Did you have snow in your hometown, or it was a warmer part?
It's near Shanghai. We have all 4 seasons.
Okay, but it gets cold, like you snow sometimes, or no?
Not that bad. It's actually that's the climate change, global warming.
Oh, it's changing.
I'm from a village. When I was a kid, the snow was knee deep or the waist deep sometimes. Now barely. Starting 10 years ago,
oh my God.
The whole year, sometimes you have only one snow, one time. Some even no.
So just in your life, you've seen that.
Yeah. It's but it may not be directly related, but it's really amazing. Since my college time, 20 years ago, we never had a snow. But when I was kid, it was so cold, like crazy, and the snow was so deep. Like we in the village, we don't clean snow.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I asked that is that some people in Montreal will say like, okay, the roads are bad because our winters are so long and the winters destroy.
That's already debunked already. It's already debunked because Toronto, all other cities, they had the same.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a little bit true because it is harder on the roads, but like. You just look at other cities. It's like, okay, they have some potholes, but it's not like a war zone. So like,
the reason is money. The reason is money. It's a corruption, 100%.
Well, you know, Quebec, like sometimes they don't want to look at other parts of Canada. They're like, we're different. We're just like, we do things different over here.
It's a corruption.
Some ways it's better. Like some ways the things can be better. And sometimes like the roads, things can be a bit worse.
You know, it's for me, a lot of people saying it's corruption. When you have the chance to have the contracts over and over again, why don't you do it? You know, it's the money involved. This problem is very, very difficult. You have all these kind of intertwined interests. It's very deep. But the fact is, like, nobody see it. That's the issue. That's the you cannot fix it. It's one thing. But if you don't tell the problem, it's another thing, another level. I don't think it's so. When you have this, everybody hate it. The issue. One hero or a group of heroes are gonna come along to try to make it much better.
Maybe you're the hero that Montreal is waiting for.
Wait, I have to improve my French. When I'm 70 years old, probably my French will be good enough. Yeah, 70 years old. That's my.
I don't know if you try to keep it very clean with the podcast. No, I have a story. It's okay.
Either way is fine.
My hometown where I grew up, Winnipeg, also has a lot of potholes. Not as bad as Montreal. I think here is worse.
Montreal is crazy.
But Winnipeg is also very bad. You know, like long winters, like bad roads. So sometimes if people want, like, if someone has a pothole outside their house and for like 2 summers they haven't fixed it, people get annoyed. They will spray paint like a penis on the pothole, and then the city hears, like someone spray painted, and then they come fix it.
That's really smart.
Yeah, because they're like, we can't have this. Oh, look, there's a pothole. We may as well just fill it.
That's really smart. People are smart. That's a great idea.
Yeah, when you're pushed, you have to do whatever you can.
Then if you do that, probably the International Space Station, they can see Montreal. You have all this sort of, it's a porn hub.
Yeah.
From space, they can see so many of them.
Oh my God.
Millions of them in Montreal. Like literally, they can see.
Yeah, there's an art project for the summer. Yeah.
It is interesting. But like that's the most thing I hate. It's the management level. You have such a great city, and then you just kind of waste it. You know, they're very, very comfortable. When the people managing the city, they are very comfortable, that means something is wrong. So,
what's it like being a business owner in Montreal? Is it challenging? I'm sure.
It's very, very. The pandemic, especially for the restaurant business, very, very difficult. But nobody to blame. You know, it's
that's
just
a big conversation.
It's your bad luck. You know, in this kind of business. If you are in IT or the financial sector, probably you get more business, right? The big corporations, that's I won't blame anybody for the situation because things happens. Things happen, it's nobody to blame. But we try to survive. Anyway, let's order some. Are you exposed to very traditional Chinese food or like General Tao chicken?
General Tao chicken. I think I've had some real Chinese food before.
You mentioned in Vancouver. Yeah. Comparing them, we're not good.
I lived in South Korea for a little bit. Before I was an English teacher in Korea.
I saw one video like you visiting Point St. Charles, Point St.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lady you mentioned it's your girlfriend. Like she's Korean.
Yeah, we've actually since broke up. Unfortunately, because her name is Nari, and we were together for several years. She was a big part of my life, and if you go back, she was in a lot of videos.
Bring that.
No.
You're exposed to Chinese food. Good.
It's my story, and I mean, with Nari, we obviously ate a lot of Korean food, a lot of Chinese food, Vietnamese food. I love, just down the street from your restaurant, I love the Vietnamese spot.
We are surrounded. Yeah, Pho Nguyen.
Yeah, and this is a good street you're on here.
And on my left, our restaurant left is the Pho Nguyen.
Yeah.
And the right is Am Pho. So the two very busy Vietnamese pho places.
Yeah,
every time when we have very few customers, and then I look at them so busy, so it made me feel bad. Our old spot, like we moved from Costa Rica.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Near Jewish, because a fire destroyed our building, so we moved here, relocation.
Oh, there's a fire.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
So they always say the best pho restaurant in Montreal is called Pho Lien.
Pho Lien.
Yeah, they always busy.
I need to remember that.
Pho Lien, Lien.
Okay.
They're just across Jewish hospital.
That's good information.
It's crazy. They are so busy. Every day I used to, after work, my IT job, after the IT job, I kind of leave at 5, right? I got there from downtown, it's in downtown. So I go to Costa Rica about 5:30. There's nobody in our restaurant. So no customer. So I always took a check on the street to say, how is this time bad for, people are not coming to eat yet. So there's always a line for Pho Lien. They make you feel so bad.
Go to the lineup, start handing out your business cards. Hey, next time.
Pho Lien is so amazing. I went there at least 10 times myself. Wow. With friends there, because when in the afternoon, we had no customers, so we have one waitress in the front, so I will go to eat something myself. So there's a lot of great pho place, but unfortunately here we are really kind of sandwiched by two good pho places. I'm Pho, and actually the owner is I spoke with the owner sometime when I met him. The Vietnamese Chinese. So
Vietnamese Chinese.
Yeah, he speaks Mandarin. Okay. He speaks Mandarin too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the one you mentioned on the left side, the Yuan, or how to pronounce the name? They've been here a lot of years. I've been there. I know them as well. So in the back we met them when we get out the garbage, the owners and the staff, they all know me as well. I went there several times too.
I think a lot of Westerners know Vietnamese food, at least for pho, the big soups, and
also the 3 colors.
Sandwiches.
You know the 3 colors?
3 colors.
3 colors
of soup?
Yeah, they put in the fridge 3 colors. They are super sweet. And you have to try that.
Oh, I have to try.
All 4 places have 3 colors. You just tell them 3 colors.
To add to your soup?
No, it's in glass.
Okay.
The glass they put is pre-made. They put in the fridge.
Interesting.
And then a 3, it's a green, and whatever maybe from red beans, and it's super sweet. They call 3 colors, and they have a unique special Vietnamese coffee.
The iced coffee.
Yeah, iced coffee.
On a hot day, it's so good.
There are 3 things, very, very unique. But I'm really surprised I haven't tried 3 colors yet. The 3 colors, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm super sweet. I'm surprised too. Yeah,
super sweet. All of them they have. I'm pretty sure all of them they have. It's their specialty. Yeah.
But I feel like Vietnamese food, a lot of Westerners know, but Chinese food is
too many things.
You're right. Options. We might know the sweet and sour pork or the Panda Express stuff, but
Panda Express
it's such a big culture, right? There's so much variety that we don't know where to start. But I'm excited for this adventure.
Yeah, and it's like all you can eat buffet here. So you order as many as you want.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I ate all of them. You can pick anything you like. If you don't like some of them, and you can leave it, it's fine. So we can order
I skipped lunch, so I'm ready.
I eat a lot as well. I usually don't eat lunch though. It's weird because in the restaurant, I'm full time here, 7 days in the restaurant. So most time I'm cutting vegetables, whatever. So when my first meal probably would be 9, 10 when I get home.
Wow.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I used to work in restaurants as well for a couple of years. So I know that people in there are always working, always like long days, you know. Oh, wow.
So the pork is okay for you, right? The pork?
Yeah,
pork?
yeah. I eat everything.
So which one do you like? We can have 3 or 4 or 5 different ones so you can try different stuff.
Okay. Well, I feel a little strange choosing anything next to the owner who knows everything so well. I'm like...
So it's by each section by the different kind of meat. So there's gonna be beef here, so pork here, and then chicken here.
Oh. What would you recommend, like satay sauce beef or the poached beef in chili?
The poached beef slices in chili oil very spicy.
Very spicy.
Very spicy. Also have the citron peppercorn, the numbness. Will give you the numb sensation.
I like spicy, but if it's too spicy, I might.
Yeah, that one probably
might be hard to talk on.
Yeah. And you can try the cumin beef though. Cumin beef very popular.
Cumin beef.
It's looking like this.
That looks great.
Yeah. It's a cumin flavor.
Cumin
you want
beef.
that one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let me write down this. Actually, I forgot to. Okay. The pork you want to try the twice cooked pork, a little bit oily and but it's very popular, and also braised pork belly with sweet potato noodle.
Oh, those both sound good.
They're a little bit greasy. Or the other one is sweet and sour pork ribs. That's a little bit safe.
I like the sound of the sweet potato noodle.
You want to try that one?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Great.
Yeah,
it's pork belly, so it's fatty, very fatty.
Very fatty.
Are you sure? A lot of people are gonna be off like by that. You can change mine.
What do you think about it? You like it? You like the fatty pork?
Yeah. For Chinese people, like, the pork belly always a big thing.
Okay.
The pork belly is for a lot of Chinese people.
I'd like to try one dish that is like.
Okay. Yeah, this one you can try and.
So I can handle something real, you know.
Yeah. Worst case, gonna leave. I probably put it tomorrow for my put in microwave. I don't want waste food.
Yeah.
The chicken, the spicy diced chicken, it's very popular, but it's spicy, but it's very very popular. Has bones. You okay with bones? Like from chicken legs.
Yeah, bones, no problem.
Yeah. You can try that one.
As long as I don't eat them.
Let's try that one. But it's spicy. They're spicy. It's dry. You will see. Have 3. Do you want some vegetable ones, or you don't like spicy? Too spicy?
Yeah, no. I think some vegetables would be good.
So the vegetable always recommend 2. We can have both of them: the eggplant, potato, bell pepper.
Oh yeah.
And also the dry fried green beans. We can have both of them.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We can have plenty, 5 dishes. That's like all you can eat.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay, you want with?
Is that the beans there?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
Okay, that should be good, right?
Thank you.
I go downstairs. So the camera gonna keep going. I don't edit out, so I'm gonna run downstairs. So come back probably within a minute.
Okay.
To place the order.
So I'll think of something to do for the minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't be too weird. Actually, I bring the teapot. I need more water. Make sure it's still running. Yeah, still.
Nice. Got my new cup. Cuisine and yeah, nice guy. This is my first time ever doing something exactly like this. I've done a couple of. I guess this is a podcast. Is this a podcast? I don't know. It feels like a podcast. I've done a couple of podcasts before.
Okay.
I feel like podcasting was big during COVID because like no one could meet. So the idea of doing one via Zoom, like an internet thing where you just like talk to each other by video chat. I did a few of those, and I've done a couple of podcasts in person. But I've never done one while eating. And I guess that's a bottle of sake. Oh my god. 14.6%. So this could be dangerous. Just admiring your bottle.
This is a huge bottle.
Impressive bottle. Thank you.
Sorry. Actually, this video is about kind of a people's story. Like, do you mind if you share a little bit? Like,
of course.
But like, how old are you? Like, what year you were born? Or, like, you look pretty young.
People usually think I'm younger than I am.
Yeah.
So I was born in 1990. I'm 31.
That's still pretty young.
Yeah, but sometimes, especially if I don't have a beard, people think I'm like 25 or like they're like, Dan, you're over 30. What? But I also act very childish in my videos, so that could be part of it.
That's amazing, but that's why like I find some videos you made on the YouTube, like you think about a lot of stuff. That's amazing. Like you have a lot of like thought processing thing, like the life, like what's the next step, the plan. Like I'm hitting the middle age crisis already. I guess you're a little bit on your way.
I think I've had a midlife crisis since I was like 12 years old. You know,
really?
I'm always my mind
always
is always
worry. You worry?
I'm not just worried, but always like I just think a lot about. I mean, it sounds funny, but I think a lot about the fact that we're all going to die and we have a short time on this earth, you know?
We make bad time.
And so we need to make the most of the time we have. And so whatever I'm doing, even if I'm making YouTube videos and then like that's my job, that's making money, I'll talk to people who are like, Dan, like that's a dream job. Like I want to be doing that. Like how? And people talk to me and think it's really cool. But me, I would say very self-critical. Yeah. Like I'm looking at channels that are bigger than mine and being like, oh, why am I not doing that? Or like.
But were you worried at the beginning to choose, because you spend a lot of time on the video, but you don't know that would create a stable income?
Oh, even today I'm worried. Even today it's like
But why did you choose this kind of a no guarantee? Because it's a risk. Like even today, I have that issue as well. Restaurant business really probably tomorrow gonna be closed, like our business.
So I'll tell my story. It was very much by mistake, actually. I've always liked storytelling. I actually come from a writing background. So I studied creative writing in school. I've always loved to. I have a book that I've been working on for years that one day the world will see, I hope.
So you must be, your English is good to read the Shakespeare thing.
Well,
really, right?
I can't write like Shakespeare, but I can understand. But
a lot better than George W. Bush English.
Yeah.
Like I'm chasing his level. I'm chasing, but there's no way can be close to your level.
Yeah, funny how President of the United States is like the low level. It's like,
that's a
you
good. You
can't be an English teacher, but you can be president.
Yeah, but that's a target that we can. It's good for the foreigners like me to have a little bit low target to
inspiring.
Yeah, to be really inspired to see that at least I can. If I spend all my life learning, I can reach, you know. But some other guys' English is so good, so there's no way. Lose your hope.
Oh my God. No, but I love to write, and I always love to travel as well. As soon as I finished school, I was telling you earlier, I took a job in South Korea as an English teacher.
Which school or what did you? It's like what kind of school? Like
yeah. So in Korea there's like two types. There's like private schools and public schools. If you're public school, that means like you're at the real Korean school.
Okay.
So like you're like the foreign teacher in a school surrounded by like their Korean classes and stuff. I was at a private school. We call them hagwons. And private schools, some of them are good. Yeah. Some of them are not so good. You hear like horror stories about some of them are really like mismanaged and try to like not pay the teachers. Is that
like I guess the similar phenomenon like in China as well. Yeah. So foreigners, they go there, people because they like learning English, right? I guess.
Well, their mothers like them learning English. These are kids, and like a lot of them, like I would say 80% of mothers in Korea, they all dream of their kid going to Harvard and like getting straight A's. So the culture pushes the kids very hard. And so I was teaching kids after they've already done their 8 hours. This is like a Korean kid's life. They do 8 hours of school. And then at 4 p.m. they might go to like a math hagwon and study math for 1 hour.
Chinese, the same tiger moms.
And then you go to
we call tiger moms.
Yeah. And then you go learn violin or piano for an hour. And then it's like 6 or 7 p.m. you might go to the English school. So they've already put in over 10 hours. Like these kids are tired, you know?
I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah. You lived it, I'm sure.
No, my daughter is going through that right now.
Yeah. Anyway, that was how I got started. It was a good way to travel a bit, see the world. It got me to Asia. I actually paid pretty good money, so I was able to save a bit. But
you are super young that time, right?
Yeah.
Just 20 in your early 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, exactly. 22,
already living
23.
in a foreign country.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember one of my friends who, like, when I was in university, like, one of my roommates at the time was this girl named Kayla. And I remember, like, when I decided, because I was working at a restaurant before that. And they just trained me to be a bartender. I'd been, like, in the kitchen and stuff. They just trained me for bartending. Like, Dan, you can make a bunch of tips and stuff. And then I had to tell them, like...
And that's cool as well. And you kind of throw that thing like a shaker.
Yeah, exactly. You get to be, like, the cool guy working the bar. You get paid tips, like... But I wanted to go somewhere new. I didn't want this life in this... I just didn't want that life. I wanted to push into the unknown. And my friend Kayla, she just, I remember her saying to me before I left, she's like, Dan, like, who does that? Who just leaves and moves to Korea? Like, she couldn't understand it. And I was like, well, you could do it too. Like, if you just need a degree and then apply, and there's lots of jobs. And just the look she gave me, it was like I was an alien.
Regret.
It was like I was an alien from another planet. Like, who moves to Korea? You don't speak Korean. You don't know anyone. What are you thinking? And a lot of your friends will react that way. They will think you're crazy a little bit. Yeah. But you need to like move past that judgment and just aim on something. Yeah.
But you spent there several years, right?
No, I was in Korea for 8 months.
8 months?
8 months. It was a year contract. I actually broke my contract because, like I said, there are some bad schools. I don't want to like trash my school too much on this in case someone ever watches. But there were some problems and I decided to cut that short. But I saved some money. It got me to Asia. I was writing and stuff, and but not much. Like I started a travel blog, but just it was mostly just to.
But after that, you went where?
After that, I actually went to France.
Cool.
And I lived in Paris for 6 months.
Okay.
And I'm embarrassed to say that because my French is still not that good, but I actually worked in an Irish pub.
But you can say that you learned the French.
I learned the French. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They think the Quebecois are not even speaking French. That's a whole nother debate. Oh my God, look at this. But yeah, I worked at an Irish pub actually. One of the only places that would hire someone who wasn't fluent in French.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Because we would get all these English speakers, like Americans in Paris, being like, "Oh, Irish pub, I can go there."
Drink Guinness, that's all. Like Guinness, the pronunciation may be the same.
We had an Irish guy tell us that my pub, we had the best Guinness in Paris. Yeah. O'Sullivan's pub, we had really good Guinness. And I was there for 6 months, and I was doing my writing, and my blog was starting to grow, but it wasn't like. I was still working, I wasn't making any money from my passion at that time.
That's the braised pork belly. I guess you may not like it though, I guess. Yeah. Okay, let's do the real cheers with the sake. Sake is very popular in the restaurant right now. It's crazy. People are like.
And is this cold sake or warm
cold?
Sake? Cold sake.
Actually, this is I guess the most inexpensive sake in the SAQ.
How do you say the name?
I have no idea.
King Kong.
I have no
Sounds
idea.
like King Kong. King Kong.
We used to have another sukaku.
Yeah.
What is that? The other smaller bottle, 750 milliliter, but this one is 1.5 liter. So that's one
a
is
big
more.
boy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You finished it.
Yeah.
Was I supposed to?
I don't know. There's no.
I'll start with half a cup.
It's interesting. The Chinese restaurant selling Japanese sake. It's but it's very, very popular.
That's very smooth taste. I like it
because like the Chinese liquor is too strong. It's burning. Okay, yeah. Help yourself. You want to try the most weird one?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Take this away.
You use your own chopsticks or just use the spoon?
With this one. Okay. I guess I hope I can find yeah, great. Like these two work together, it's easier to get the noodle. Yeah. It's a sweet. It's called sweet potato noodle.
Oh, yeah, I love the look of that noodle. Let's see if I can. Oh, thank you. Okay.
It's a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I don't want to make a mess, but I think I got it. Oh wow.
Okay.
Merci beaucoup. I love these tables too. I wish I had one of these at home.
Yeah, I don't know why called Lazy Susan. I learned that English like Lazy Susan. Why not Lazy Ali or Lazy Emily instead of Susan? Poor Susan.
Someone lazy, I guess. Actually, my aunt's name is Susan, so shout out to her if she's watching.
Susan is a great name. Actually, the Koreans may be the same. When they learn English, they give them English name, right?
When I was in Korea, it was right after the movie Frozen had come out. You know Frozen?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I guess that movie was very popular. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
That was very popular in Korea. So I had like half the girls in my class were named Elsa. They all wanted to be Elsa.
I wanted Elsa.
Yeah, so
the cool sister. What is the sister name? Elsa?
In that movie, was it Anna? Because there were a lot of.
Oh yeah, Anna. Was it older sister? Anna. Yeah, Anna.
Okay, so
Anna was not so cool as the old sister.
I had I taught like 5 different classes. I swear, like 3. There was like Elsa 1, Elsa 2, Anna 1, Anna 2.
Yeah.
And then the boys, because they would all have their Korean names, and a few of them. You would have like Jin. Like a few of them would keep their Korean name, but like most of them,
it's an English name.
They encourage them to pick an English name.
Yeah, Jeremy, David.
No, some of them, yes, but other ones. I had a boy named Dragon.
That's pretty brave, tough.
Dragon.
Like
yeah. I had a boy named Potato.
That's interesting.
Should have thought it was really funny. A guy named Potato. He was actually a troublemaker, so sometimes I'd have to be like
Potato Head.
I'd have to say, "Hey, Potato, put your phone away," but I'd always start laughing. Like I'd try to be like kind of like forceful, like "Hey, Potato," but like I would just start laughing because you can't get mad at a potato.
You know the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Oh yeah, of course.
We call him Potato.
Who?
Justin Trudeau.
But who calls him Potato?
We Chinese people call him Potato because Trudeau in Chinese like a Trudeau. Potato is Trudeau. Trudeau, and Trudeau is the same pronunciation. Very close pronunciation, so we always call him Potato.
It's like Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, Putin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, French people are like, how can I be scared of someone who is that delicious?
Putin, yeah. Just need more gravy. It would be scary. Red gravy.
But anyway, all that to say, just to my story is long, but after my time in France, I have started traveling into Europe. And after that, I lived in Vietnam.
Jeez.
I lived in Ho Chi Minh City for about 5 months. And it was there that I made my first videos. And actually, it was just to support my blog. Yeah. Like I would write blog posts, and then.
What platform do you write? blog?
I used WordPress.
WordPress. Okay.
WordPress, and actually my blog, like I was starting to learn more about it. You know, I was learning from other bloggers who was doing it full time, and yeah, I wasn't making a living, but like I was making a bit of money, which felt good. So I decided to do some videos just because I heard, oh, this will help Google rank your blog.
Yeah.
And then something funny happened. After 2 or 3 videos, the videos started to get more views than the blog posts. The videos, which were just this side thing. And I found them fun too. I was editing my first videos. I was like, hey, this is pretty fun. And so I just followed, well, first of all, where the attention was, but also this new world. Like I'd always thought that video is like so complicated. Like that's for filmmakers. That's for like professionals. I'm just a guy who just likes to tell little stories on my blog. But then I realized like I can do this. I bought my first like nice camera, and then I realized like, you know what? Video is not just for those people on TV. Like I can actually do this. And that was a really empowering moment to realize like, you know, get the tools, learn the skills, and just do it. Like there's nothing stopping you from anyone at home. Kind of like you with this podcast. You're like, well, maybe I don't have a video team, but I have a tripod. I can start a video and I can just start doing it. I think it's inspiring.
No, actually, I'm playing safe. I still have a business, so I'm a restaurant. So.
Yeah. Maybe one day this will be your professional podcaster.
There's no way, because I have a theory. If you don't put the effort, if you don't risk a lot, you can never achieve success, because you just play with it. Because myself, that's why I have the middle age crisis, because I have a 9-year-old daughter. Like, what school to go to, you know, like.
Yeah, now when you have a daughter, that's different. You know, that changes things a bit.
I have to make sure the family has a, little bit stable income, you know. And then I not working the IT anymore. IT is stable. You know, it's kind of, these last 2 years for me is kind of a little bit crazy. I used to receive a check every week from the company, you know, the IT job. Now I even don't know, it's losing money or making money for the from the restaurant. You know.
What was it like when you quit your IT job? Like, did people around you think you were crazy? Or were they like, you're making a mistake? You know, you need to stay with the security. Was it hard for you?
I don't have to worry about that because I was laid off. So there's no such question for me. It's kind of a pandemic kind of changed me a lot. The first, trajectory of the whole life.
I mean, yeah, it's...
But it's
you know, they say tough times make tough people. You know, when things go wrong, you'll have to survive. You have to do whatever you can.
Actually, but for me, it's like always playing safe. I'm pretty sure I'm very mediocre. So that's why I'm always playing safe. You know, I'm not. You know, I just want to be true. You know, sometimes like even the video or something, it's not a tiny channel comparing to yours. But it's like just want to be real, you know, have meeting new friends. I'm pretty sure after today we have a lot of. It's the first time we met actually, so I guess probably we have a lot of in common. I guess a lot of topics we can discuss after this.
Oh yeah, I mean
it's good to meet new people, new friends, and ideas. I always like, you know, perspective from different people. I'm a Chinese immigrant, like. My background was, you know, I spent my first 25, I guess. When I immigrated here, I was 26 probably. Wow. So pretty early for first generation. Yeah. So that's why I'm lucky to be able to improve my English, adapt my thinking. I really like American culture, so Canadian culture, everything. So I'm 42, but I've been here 16 years, so I adapt a lot. So living here is really a blessing for me, actually. Even if I say maybe the business is going well or bad, but I'm pretty happy with, you know, the lifestyle.
You know, my dad, who is now retired, my dad worked his whole life for Canadian immigration.
Okay. The immigration office, right? The CIC,
Yeah, I mean, like he moved into management position. Like he was many years with the Canadian government, so he wasn't like but like for a long time he was working, with the individual cases and like people who are, sometimes refugees. Like you need to realize in Canada, like people who grew up in Canada, it's like, okay, you kind of understand, like, okay, there's a lot of immigrants, there's refugees, there's people from all over the world, but sometimes you don't realize like just how hard some of these people have had it to get to where they are, and that's one of the things I learned moving to France. And I'm not saying like I went through the same situation as anyone, but what I realized when I first went to South Korea, okay, Korea, it's a very different place. Like I had to like adjust to that, but they made it kind of easy because they booked my flight. The flight was free.
That's good.
And they gave me a free apartment for the year. So imagine, like, and my school was 2 blocks from the apartment. All I need to do is like show up in this country, like go there. There's an English-speaking supervisor who, like, she will help me, like, pay my phone bill if it's in Korean or, like, anything I need help with. They're there to help. So they kind of made it, like, baby steps for, like, moving to a new country. And after that, I thought, okay, I can move to a new country. Like, this will be easy. That's why I had the courage to go to France, because I had done it once before. And I'm like, I speak a bit of French. I don't speak any Korean. I'll be fine in France. But what I realized was when you move somewhere, even though I had a working visa to be there, first of all, like they don't. A lot of places don't want to hire you. They're like, we have Europeans we can hire. Like we don't need a Canadian. Second of all, you're not fluent in French, so you're at the bottom of the list anyway. And then everything, like finding an apartment was hard, getting a cell phone is hard, opening a bank account. So when I started to go through those, I realized this is what everyone who comes to Canada has to deal with. And some of those people have no money. Right, at least like if I run out of money, I can call my dad and be like, I messed up. I need to go home.
I'm
not going to sleep on the streets. But for some people, that's a really hard time.
And also not only the language barrier, also the culture. Like from Canadian to French is a Western culture. It's close. You still have the baguette, right? Sandwich from baguette. But the culture is very different from like Chinese immigrants. Like. Totally the West.
Did you have shocks, culture shocks?
For me, I was lucky. So the first time I traveled outside, my first country I visited was 2002. I graduated from university. I have a bachelor degree of computer science in 2001. So on my second year, only 1 year in the company, they sent me to Egypt. Sent me to Egypt on a business trip. They sponsor everything. Egypt. They paid everything. So I was 23.
That's my bucket list, the pyramids.
Yeah, it's amazing. I went there 3 or 4 times. Because every time I have new colleagues came, first time I was new colleagues, so old colleagues, they took me there on weekends. And then when I been there, I stayed there 6 months.
How's the food in Egypt?
I don't know. It's very different. It's actually...
I don't know if I've ever been to an Egyptian restaurant. Is it kind of like Middle Eastern style?
It's like the one you have very very popular like
like the shawarma place.
Yeah, shawarma.
They have that type.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's like Arabic,
Lebanese.
Lebanese, the kind of them. But it's very tasty. The meats you kind of shred them a little bit, and then put it like a sandwich, a wrap. It's amazing. So I kind of only. Like 23 years old, I was exposed to different cultures. That time, it helped me a lot. And I was super lucky to see the outside world when I was very young, like just 1 year out of university. So, and after that, I traveled to UK, Hong Kong, Brazil, and it was really lucky.
When you were living in China, did you find it was a bit of a bubble, or I know I know China, like the big cities, there's a lot of commerce, there's a lot of people coming from all over, but it's not like Canada, right? It's not that multicultural in terms of like
China it's very
like, what was it like for you living there? Did you know a lot about the world? Were you curious about the world?
That time we learned, actually we spent a lot of time, not a lot of time, in the school we learned the world history. So we know the Napoleon, like the conqueror of the, failed in Russia. All those kind of the industry revolution, all those kind of stuff. But like in China, with the information, especially in the last 20, 30 years, like the internet give you tons of information. But unfortunately, China has a great firewall. So like the knowledge you can get, but opinions, not so much. It's
interesting.
It's a science knowledge, whatever the knowledge, the fact knowledge, those kind of you can get, but I guess CNN, BBC, all those websites are going to be blocked by the Great Firewall. So it's ideas, opinions, but opinions are biased, right? Because it's opinions. That's kind of stuff. So it's the knowledge. A lot of people, we have a lot of good engineers.
Yes.
The engineers, because those kind of pure knowledge, and you apply your own logic to
opinion doesn't matter to computer code.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not political correct. Even like when I doing the network engineer, we have QoS, quality of services. Like you give them like the worst case is the best effort. No, like when you have a certain amount of bandwidth, you always prioritize some important traffic, internet traffic. For example, the voice, because it needs real time. When you talk to somebody, if you have like 30, 50 milliseconds of latency, it will be cutting. It was cutting, right? So that's the voice or the radio. It's called real time traffic. You have to give them higher priority to pass the bandwidth. So that's called, we tag them with higher code for the traffic. But then the internet traffic, like browsing a website, so it's called best effort.
Okay.
Best effort, like as long when you have traffic, have available bandwidth, let it pass. If you don't have enough bandwidth, and it's gonna wait.
So the browsing is slower.
Yeah, slower, but it's not breaking your connection. It's just loading the page a little bit longer, 5 seconds. But you cannot wait 5 seconds when you talk to somebody over internet, right? So, and then there's another trash. Another category is trash. So that one is the lowest. So the lowest, second to lowest is the best effort. That's the web traffic. So we tag them like different categories, give them priorities on the traffic. But you cannot treat people, when you give them services like immigration office give them services that's political incorrect. But in the technology field, it's fine. This traffic is garbage. This traffic is VIP. But you cannot apply.
No equality for traffic.
Exactly. That's the science field. It's science is like it's brutal. The truth is brutal. It's unforgiving.
The truth is brutal.
Yeah, it's unforgiving.
That is a good quote.
Yeah, it's unforgiving. Science is unforgiving. It doesn't matter you like it or not. That's why it's politically incorrect.
I have a funny story for you. When I was in Vietnam, Vietnam's an interesting place in some ways. They see themselves almost as China Junior, in that they are a country that is also like.
They fought a lot of wars with big guys. The top guys.
America, France.
China, 1979, they fought China. After China aided them against the United States, we call them like I don't know what's the English term, but like you betrayed your helpers.
Backstab.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. They're a country that is now developing very quickly.
It's crazy.
Because for a long time, like you said, all the wars and stuff, like there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of suffering. But now they feel like, okay, this is our time. So it's changing very quickly. Maybe maybe they're like 10 or 20 years behind China, but they're starting to build their first metros and everything. And anyway, so the internet in Vietnam, on average, actually faster than Canada.
Seriously?
Because they're developing a lot. At least I was there 5 years ago. At that time, Canada's getting now we have, fiber and stuff. But At that time, I was like, oh, it's faster than back home. This is crazy.
Canada is so slow. Actually, in Chinese, we call Montreal is a village. We call it village. Toronto is village as well.
Toronto's a village.
Here we call village because Shanghai is city, and then Montreal is a village. The infrastructure.
Well, I want to know more about our villages, but to finish the story, okay, so you have this very fast internet, but every once in a while, like for a week, basically the whole infrastructure will just go down. And I mean,
seriously, no.
There's like China. I mean, there's a communist government. They don't exactly tell you what's going on, right? So it's like for the whole week, the internet goes very, very slow. Lots of people, it doesn't work, but there's no official explanation. So when this happened a few years ago, what the government said to people is, there are some sharks who are biting the cables.
It's like
the underwater cables. They're like sharks are biting the cables.
The dog ate my homework.
Yeah, exactly. One of those. This was like the official explanation for the slow internet. They were like, they don't say we're upgrading it. They're just like sharks. They blame the sharks. Sharks are biting the cables. So after that, it's like a meme in Vietnam. Whenever the internet goes slow, I guess the sharks are biting the cables again.
Yeah, talking about memes
So no country is perfect. We have the potholes, they have the sharks who are biting the cables.
Bad sharks, baby sharks, like the song, baby sharks. They're so cute.
Do you like memes? Are you into internet humor?
Yeah, the memes are the best. I guess the humor gonna help you with a lot of difficulties. The memes is the best.
These are great, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, the green beans.
But Vietnam in this in past 5 years, especially the pandemic, they kind of came out really strong economy. Last year they grew 7-8% of the growth.
Wow!
And especially after the Trump declared the trade war with China, a lot of factories or the supply chain moved to Vietnam and India. So Vietnam gonna be hot place. Will be really the economy gonna 10% growth every year for will kind of keep that way for several years. That's amazing for them because you kind of move the supply chain, move some of them like giant China, like the huge supply chain, but you move just 10% to Vietnam, to feed them for that size of country, their GDP will be off the roof.
No, it was a great place to live, I think.
And you can have food all day long, every day, every 3 meals.
For very cheap too. For I'm sure inflation. I'm sure things are starting to change. But when I was there, sometimes for $1,
seriously,
$1 you can get this enormous bowl of pho.
And then
they don't have a lot of restaurants there. They don't have these big menus. It's like we have our home soup, we have our soup. And then they have 2 options, or there's a spicy one or the normal one. But it's so good because it's just this grandma who's been making it the same for 35 years. So you don't need a menu. You're just give me whatever you're stirring right there. That's what I want.
And they have they have great basils, right?
They have what?
The basil. You know the
basil.
The basil on in the pho they always have the raw basil and then put the basil in. You kind of tear them little pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't even know the name, but the little herb, the little basil.
Yeah, the basil herb.
Yeah,
that's amazing. The smell is kind of you rub it and then it's so unique. You know, right now it's because whatever the inflation, the basil is so expensive. Some people told me some pho restaurant, Vietnamese restaurant, they stopped providing basils in the pho, the noodle anymore. They stopped doing that because it's so expensive. They used to have a tiny bag. We put them in the 3-cup chicken with the basil as well. But we stopped doing that 3 years, almost 2 or 3 years. Especially probably starting of the pandemic, because it's the basil give you extra level of the kind of aroma something for the 3-cup chicken. But then, as I always said, we compromise. We stopped doing that.
It's so interesting. Expensive. I never thought much about the basil. I just I would add it to my soup, but just because I noticed locals always do that.
Yeah, they always do that.
So when I go to a new country, I just look around. I'm okay, what are people eating? If I see 2 or 3 people with one thing, it's give me that. people have this idea that you need to speak every language if you want to travel. It's okay, it helps. I'm not telling you not to learn a language, but if you just keep your eyes open and you like pay attention to what people are doing.
What is the next table are eating?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and of course, if you have allergies or you have like, if you're vegan or something, it's a lot harder to travel. But if you're able to eat anything, you can experiment.
That's why it's unfair to our restaurant. Very unfair. We have this braised pork belly, and this one. Sometimes one customer is saying like, "Oh, the spicy fried chicken is deep fried. I don't eat deep fried things." You know, it's crazy. You know, for us, they even don't want to pay because like they did not know it's deep fried. But then everybody knows it's deep fried. But I don't eat deep fried.
So they tell you after, like, I can't eat this.
Yeah. So we have a lot of this. That's why I have the description of on the online menu. That's how we get like recognized by some media. That's why I got my the YouTube channel, because after that 2021 we got really viral on the Twitter. So some media contacted me for that. It's very unfair to us. Like we make the food the same way, not very same way. Try to have the traditional dishes the same way in China, made in China. But then they say, I don't eat pork. I don't eat pork belly. And then you order the braised pork belly. Customers, they just don't eat it. Sometimes they ask for refund, not charging us. And you know, it's the spicy fried chicken is very traditional. And it's the same way they make there. They make the dishes in China. But for some customers, they don't know. They say, why do you have bones?
That red pepper just got me.
Ooh, let's be careful, yeah. Those dry chilies is from Thailand. I did not know that Thailand they have great dry chili.
You people at home, watch out for these ones.
Don't touch it. Don't even touch it.
I just ate one, yeah.
You ate one?
Yeah, I just took it. I just wanted to try it, and now it's...
Jeez, nobody do that. Be careful. Sorry.
20 seconds, it will pass.
We don't have water. Do you want to drink some tea? That may help. Yeah, this red chili is crazy. It's from Thailand. I did not know them, and they have great red chili.
Yeah. No, I like chili. I mean, you know, Vietnam, they like their chili. Mexico, they like their chili. But that one, that has some kick.
But you stayed in Vietnam for like quite some time, right?
About almost 6 months.
That's not too long.
Yeah, I spent most of the time living in Ho Chi Minh City. It's interesting. Half the country calls it Ho Chi Minh City. Half the country calls it Saigon.
Yeah. You have the north and the west. It's the Communist Party and then the capitalist whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's worth seeing both sides of the country because after my time living there, I got a motorbike and basically like toured up the country, up to Hanoi and then almost to the Chinese border, closest I've ever been to China. Could actually see into China. There's a big flagpole that you climb up and you can see across the border. And that area of northern Vietnam is just so beautiful, like rolling hills, and I'm sure that part of China is equally beautiful.
But the Saigon and the Ho Chi Minh City, are they very different culturally, or they used to
Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi. Hanoi is the city.
Oh, Hanoi.
Hanoi to the north is...
Hanoi is the capital, right? Or the biggest city in
So the big difference is Hanoi, the capital, is still... Okay, so the whole country is run by the Communist Party of Vietnam. But to the south, Ho Chi Minh City, they are more like... I mean, in the war, they sided with the Americans, right? So, like, they are...
Ho Chi Minh City is the Saigon, right? It's
Ho Chi Minh City is the same as Saigon.
Oh, I thought, why do we have three cities?
No, it's confusing, right? Because, so, like, people who... and it's political. The name you give it, because the official name is Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, the people in the South who actually, like, kind of, like, fought with the Americans, like, they don't like Ho Chi Minh because he's the guy who beat them. So they call it Saigon. They're like, I grew up in Saigon. My parents grew up in Saigon.
Saigon is a cool name, actually.
It is a cool name.
Very cool name.
So after a while, I started calling it Saigon because, like, I like that.
So today, people now calling it Saigon. They call it Ho Chi Minh. Today, the official name is
Ho Chi Minh City.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. It's been called that for like 50 years now.
Saigon is so cool.
Yeah, and it's...
We have both the Chinese name, Xi Gong and Hu Zhiming Shi. So we have in Chinese, like, somehow we always think they are ours. Somehow like, we give them Chinese name. Like, really good Chinese name. Saigon we call Xi Gong.
Xi Gong.
Yeah. So
interesting.
It's close. But it's, you know, what weird is like Seoul, the capital of South Korea, right?
Yeah.
We used to, they asked Chinese to change the Chinese name. Right now, we used to call them Hanchen. Hanchen means Han City.
Han City.
Han City because we're ethnic Han. Han means Chinese, actually. So we used to call them Chinese City, Han City. Then I guess 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the South Korea, the government asked us to change the Chinese name, how to call their city to Seoul. Seoul is Showa. So they asked, could you change from calling us from Hanchen to Showa? So it's kind of weird, like, it's kind of hurting our pride. Like, you're asking us to call your name in Chinese from one name to another. But it's like, we used to call them Hanchen, Han City, you know, we always like Han City. So kind of part of the influence, Chinese influence in the history.
I mean, Korean people are very proud, you know, like, it's a small country, geographically very small, and I feel like they are like, we need to be proud of Korea because, like, we need to fight for our identity, you know. And of course, with the North, there's all the tension. So, like,
no, even the whole peninsula, the whole Korean peninsula, before the Japanese in 1895, it was kind of, it's called the tribute country of Qingdan, China. But then the naval war between China and Japan, 1895, 1894. So Japan totally controlled the Korea. That's why they were occupied from 1895 by Japan. They always, all the time, until the end of the World War II. So it's kind of, it's a small country in between big powers, and was, you know, but after the World War II, I guess it's a good time for them to really get independent. Then, unfortunately, they were separated by. You
know, that's why so many Koreans have the names like Kim and Lee.
Yeah. They're all Chinese family name, like in characters.
Yeah.
We call Jin and Lee.
Yeah, and it was interesting. You know, as I mentioned, my ex-girlfriend was from South Korea, a city called Daegu. Which is actually a very conservative city, you know. So I went there with her, and I met her parents, and I'd spoken to her mom before. I knew the mom would be okay, but I was quite nervous about meeting her dad from this conservative city, like
a foreigner.
Yeah, exactly. You guys might laugh, but it really is a thing to be in a country where 99.9% of people are ethnically Korean. To have a daughter who is in a relationship with a foreign guy, you know. But thankfully, he was nice to me. It was okay. But when I was there, her dad had his 60th birthday. And 60 is a big age.
It's a big thing. Yeah, it's a big
culture.
thing.
It's big things, big party, lots of people. And then, like, he was on the microphone. And he was like thanking people. And I remember he thanked me for coming, but he introduced me as like now his friend.
Okay.
I couldn't be the partner, the boyfriend for like this big gathering of like his coworkers and stuff.
Maybe the English teacher
might just have to be the friend.
Could be the English teacher.
Yeah, because it's, you know, cultural differences.
It's very interesting because they always have the sense of humor for South Koreans. The Koreans, they have sense of, in Chinese. We lot of times we watch the sitcoms from Korea. The way they talk, through translation, it's amazing. It's really have the sense of humor. It's always like it's kind of coming from the Confucius tradition. Even Japanese and Koreans, Chinese, they share the Confucius thinking. So always the what is that? The father always respected the whole family. The father is the whole leader of the family. So you see the kind of the authority of the father in the family. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah. So the younger generation or even the wife listen to the husband like almost 100%. But it's the new generation, they are coming, they are changing. But little bit when you are 60 or 70 years old, you see the mentality of, you know, the father-centered. You know, it's really amazing. And the obedience of the wife and the younger generation, the children, is really amazing.
Salud. You also notice even the height difference between generations. In Korea, even a lot in Vietnam, the older generation, I mean, it sounds funny, but like there are kids who are way taller than any older people you see because they're eating a new diet. The culture has changed. Their countries are opening up. But the people who like grew up in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and like literally their country was devastated, you know? And you see it in their faces, these old women who are still there, like they've had hard lives. And you have to respect because they made it through a lot, you know.
It's very.
Our country, we're soft here in Canada. We don't.
Yeah, we're very soft. Canada is.
We get some deep fried thing we didn't think was deep fried, and where that ruins our week. You know, we start complaining about little things.
That's why I think a lot, because in Canada, United States, or the Europe, it's especially the United States, and you know it's individualism, like the Korea, Japanese, Chinese, like very, very collective thinking. So it's very, very different. So the mentality is very, very different. So when you think about the group team, like collectively, and you feel like responsibilities. Even look at the pandemic in Asian countries, especially the Eastern Asian countries, Japanese, Hong Kong. Hong Kong is not a country. If you say that, it's a big problem. And Taiwan is not a country. but anyway, and Singapore. So the people, they are more responsible. They are not rebellious. So you ask them, okay, wear masks. They all wear masks in the public spaces. So it's like not like Canada or United States, especially United States. They what the hell? Who gave you the right to ask me to behave this way or that way? But that's why, like in Singapore, South Korea, and you know, people really, you know, work together, like as a group, collective thinking. So they understand the policies the government's making for the goodness of the whole nation. So they're very cooperative to the government.
I know a great example. That's a very important point you mentioned. I know a great example of that. I actually learned this from from my ex-girlfriend. She, you know, after the Korean War, like I think Korea is actually a big success story because they were very poor after the Korean War. Like in the 50s and 60s, Korea was not a good place to be living. You know? One of the poorest countries. And now 2 generations later, they
look at the Samsung.
Yeah, like they have the phones in our pockets. They make the cars on the roads. Like it's been crazy.
They're one of the best countries in the world, I guess. One of the best. Their life standards are probably better than Europe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. But to get there was a time, and I'm not Korean. I don't know the exact year, but I think it was in the 1980s where they had to borrow a lot of money to pay off, to help the recovery. So they had to borrow a lot of money from the World Bank or one of those international monetary people. And then the Korean government, in I think the mid-80s, they said, okay, we have to pay off this national debt. There's national debt from the money we borrowed. It's like destroying the country. So we're asking everyone to hand in their jewelry.
Jeez.
hand in your personal like silver, your gold, your diamonds, like give it to us so we can collectively pay off this debt. And people did. People did. And they did by in like huge numbers. They gave up their personal wealth, their personal like jewelry and stuff. And so it's like, we're going to pay off this national debt because we're in this together and we're all going to do this together. And sometimes I think to myself, okay, imagine if Canada, like today, we have inflation, right? There's COVID. Imagine if Canada said, hey, you know, our economy is struggling with COVID. We need everyone to, let's use a modern example. We need everyone to hand in their iPhone. Give us all your iPhones, and then we're going to pay off the debt, and then Canada, we're going to come back. Everyone would laugh. Yeah. They would get like maybe 2 iPhones, but like they would not get any iPhones. Everyone would make fun of it. It would be like, are you kidding? I don't care about this country. You're not getting my phone. Are you joking? And that's the difference. It's a different way of thinking.
It's a collective. It's the Confucius. If the people they want to understand Japan, China, and Korea, they can look at the Confucius thinking. Confucius is a big philosopher, huge. The same time of it's Aristotle.
Aristotle, yeah.
The same time, I guess. The problem is like the difference is the Confucius idea over the 2,000 years, probably 2,500 years. Like most of the time was adapted by the emperors in China. So they use that Confucius philosophy to rule the whole country. To see the obedience and the collective thinking is, you can say tricking the people subordinates, right? So like if you're subordinates and they tell you, okay, let's, to achieve the greatness of the whole nation, you just listen to me for.
Confucius is Buddhism, right?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Confucius is a philosopher. At the time, like I guess
So there's no religion to Confucius.
Not at all. No. It's a system of how to rule the country, how to see to make people better, and to how to manage the society. And it's kind of a literature works. It's being passed like
I see.
It's a real person, philosopher. He lived. Probably 2,500 years ago. So it's the single biggest influence in whole Chinese history. Like for more than 2,000 years, all the emperors, like the real Chinese was united. It's the Emperor Qing, the first dynasty, Emperor Qing. He united the whole country. Used to be kingdoms like Europe before. Used to be a lot of kingdoms. They speak the Chinese, but they have a lot of different dialects, different accents, and also they use different currencies. But in the old time, the currency made of metal, maybe the iron or even copper. So they have different currencies, and they're using different units to measure length or other weight. All these kingdoms, they use different units. And then it's the Emperor Qing who conquered all these kingdoms to have the single government. Like that's
fascinating.
That's 221 BC. It's like
so a long time.
Long time. Then all the dynasties they have emperors. They all use majority of them using the Confucius philosophy to kind of manage the country. That's why Confucius is everywhere. Even you don't see, you don't know it's Confucius, but it's your parents. They teach you how to behave when you are very young. Like you have to kind of obey the social order. Like when you are like what we call generation. Like my generation, your father generation, your grandfather generation, even they're not the same family tree, but they are one generation older, and then you still respect them.
I want to know about this. What is your parents' story? You said you grew up in a village.
Very, very poor.
Your parents were a poor family.
very, very poor. Like when I was child, we literally we went to the school is in the village. So some days we went to the school on barefoot. We did not have enough. And in the winter, like as I said, like there was -10, -5. We got frostbites everywhere. Like when I was a kid,
Wow.
we did not have enough clothing for the winter. The summer was great, so we wear nothing. Sometimes just shorts. Summer was the best time, but the winter was crazy. And so we had the bites and the swelling, the face and the finger. Any finger could be swelling. Like it's super itchy when you sleep at night. And the cover, and it's getting warm, and it's super itchy, crazy. Like just want to rip it off.
Were you in a big family? Were there a lot of you living together, or
we
small
always
family?
Yeah, it's in the countryside, always multi-generation together. So I have 2 older brothers. Like we always fight. Like 3 boys in the family. Like we sleep in the same bed. Yeah,
3 boys always fight.
Yeah. We had same bed, and the food was okay, but you just don't have nutrition. We did not have meat. We did not have vegetables. Vegetables we grew some like around the house. Like you have some like spare field. You grew like the seasonal stuff. In the summer you always have lot of green vegetables. You just plant them yourself.
Yeah.
But you have no money. The parents did not have money to buy enough oil or the salt. So it's kind of everything fresh but no flavor.
Simple ingredients.
But no meat. Like the whole year. That's why the Chinese New Year was so big, because that's the only time.
That's the time.
Yeah, you can have some meat. You could have some meat. It's crazy. That's why the opening up and the reform was huge to China, because in the 1979, the same year they opened up to the world. The same year I was born, 79. So after that.
You were born the year that it opened. Wow.
Yeah. It's the Deng Xiaoping, the leader. Wow. So he thought like our system not working that well, so the people are starving, and we short on everything. So
and that allowed new
investment from foreign investment. They set factories. Wow. They kind of hire people. They call the opening and also opening up and also reform. Those two things.
All the cities started growing so quickly. Right?
Shenzhen. My job is in Shenzhen after graduation. Shenzhen is like literally from a fishing village, and to the 3rd largest city in China today.
I wonder what the people who used to live in that fishing village think. Like just seeing like
they're super rich. They're some of the millionaires.
Oh, so they got the money for the land.
Because the land they used to live there, and then they developed high buildings there, tall buildings, and then they compensate them with millions of dollars.
It's good to know that the people got some benefit.
Yeah.
If
you're original settlers there, original people, residents, and you don't have to work. you don't.
Wow.
It's the original the residents in Shenzhen, that city, they were super rich, because you cannot take that away from them.
Yeah, it's like in New York City. Apparently, the first deal that Manhattan was sold to whatever indigenous group was living there. I don't know. But it was like sold for like basically the equivalent of $16 worth of like beads and jewelry. Like $16 they sold Manhattan, just because back then it was like, well, this whole continent is empty. Like you're a fool. Why are you buying land? Like we have nothing but land.
Shenzhen is a miracle. But back to my village, I was really lucky. The year they start opening up, and also the same year they start the one-child policy. The same year.
1979.
Yeah, 79. And that's why I was the youngest of the 3 brothers. After that, there's no more. I supposed to have a lot of younger brothers or sisters because of that policy. No more. So I was the last.
Is that still happening? The one child, or is that in the past?
Actually, it's very interesting. About 5-10 years ago, they realized like they were like the kind of the demographic. Like the layout of the different ages, they were really off balance right now. So they were asking people to give birth more child.
Okay.
Because
first you need less, then you
yeah,
need more.
exactly, because
the stock market, okay, we did more, we did less.
Because they used to have a lot of people over 60 years old. After like 40 years
Yeah.
of that one-child policy, it's kind of the, now they realize like you don't have enough young people to take care of the old people, even the social security. Even you pay a lot of tax, but still cannot, like 10 years.
Soon we'll have the robots to do all that for us.
That,
one more generation.
Yeah, that probably, that would be the solution. I guess the technology probably going to help China a lot. Because otherwise, there's no way. Like so many old people and very, very few. Because like every family can have only one child. After 2 generations,
Wow.
It's crazy. Now the newest policy is, I guess 2 years ago, they literally asking to have 3 kids. If you don't have 3 kids, and you may not qualify for the official the government positions.
If Canada didn't have immigration, our population
It's
would
the
go
same.
down. We're the same. Like people are not having kids.
But it's not artificial because you did not have the one-child policy. The one-child policy just make it 10 times worse. Yeah, it's by natural. Naturally people gonna give birth less, children because they want to live more freedom of, I guess, their choices. But to be honest, the people living in the countryside, they don't care about the living standard, so they have a lot of kids. Even on the height of the one-child policy, our whole village, I have never seen any family with only one child. They always break the rules. They always. There's no single family having one child. In our village, at least.
It would be hard to enforce, unless you were going to check every family in the country.
They did check. They did check. But the problem, they did not possess a lot of properties. They did not care. You own nothing.
Especially if you're in a farm, there's a lot of work to do.
The farm is very different. Like every family, we used to have so little area to work on. So the farm is so small, so you can barely support your own family.
Did you have to work when you were young, like help around the farm a lot?
Help.
Yeah.
The first time I had a memory, I was doing the heaviest thing I could lift, I lifted as a child, 5, 6 years old, always like maybe 20 kilo or 10 kilo. I lifting everything I could. It's all the time.
Were there animals?
Yeah,
on your property?
A little bit, yeah. And the goat, I never seen any sheep, but a lot of goats, 2 or 3 goats, ducks, chickens, pigs. But that's why the whole, I was very fortunate.
It's a nice farm picture over there. I've been looking at this meal. The people on the YouTube can't see it, but yeah.
That's why I was super lucky. I was the first one in the village to ever get a college education from a good university.
Wow.
The first one in the...
You still have family there?
Yeah, my parents, my 2 older brothers still live. Because if you don't have... We used to call like 5 years in the primary school and 3 years in the junior high school, 3 years in senior high school, and then college or university. So both my old brothers, they only finished 8 years of education. So 5 years in primary school and then 3 years in junior. They all dropped out. So I was lucky to enter really good senior high school and then went to a good university and a really good job in the city. So we have the hukou system, your residence registration system. So I used to belong to the village. Now, after that education of the university, so my first job in Shenzhen, so actually I have a city registration.
Wow.
That's only in the family, I was the only one has the city registration, the hukou, the residence registration.
Was that strange for you, going from the small village to the city?
Very rare.
Very different life, right?
Very rare, very different.
Yeah.
The big city.
Was it stressful? Like suddenly there's more people, there's more noise, there's more,
No, not that bad. Just
some people from the countryside, they don't like big cities.
No, actually, you just felt really inferior. The insecurity.
People treat you different.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, I did not have a good self-esteem. Really low. There's no such thing called pride, self-pride. self-esteem was super low because you had nothing in your pocket. You could not in the senior high school. I was okay, to be honest, because it's called a county, and it's a town county. So basically, everybody was from countryside, from villages. So we were fine. Everybody was similar level poor. So we were fine.
You're in it together.
Yeah, together we play. We did not feel the difference. But the university was my 4 years. University was most unhappy time in my whole life because the other people, most of them, all
Rich
my
kids.
classmates from cities.
Yeah.
Their parents give them, maybe 1,000 RMB for the semester, but I had only 100 or 200 RMB for the whole semester. So, like for weekend, we live in a dorm. We have 7 students in the one dorm, but they said, okay, Saturday let's go to a restaurant. But I just could not go there.
Can't go.
Yeah. It was really a lot of things they said jokingly, said something. We had a conversation. I felt I was insulted. Like I felt like they were kind of like they slight me, whatever. It's kind of really get a lot of very super sensitive. I get a lot of trouble in the university time. It was really bad, really bad time.
It's hard psychologically to feel that way.
I was super angry all the time, super angry. So that's why the first job saved me. The first job is like as I said, it's the Huawei is the big company. They pay you extra to send you different countries. So the salary was super high to that standard. And was the first time I saw the salary. They give me each month this much money. That's crazy. That's more than what I can think of for a whole year. So then give you the self-confidence. Wow. That thing. A good job changed everything. The good job, the first job out of university changed everything. So your confidence is back. So you are not that super sensitive. So I can take jokes.
Yeah.
So I can talk to people normally to see we have a normal conversation, relationship with otherwise I always feel this guy tried to insult me. This guy tried to look down me because I'm from a village. They thought we're savages. They thought we're not educated. We're not civil. The way you dress, the way you behave. People from village. Even today, there's still some people. The discrimination against the poor area is amazing. Even today, they say you are not educated. You are not civil. You don't have manners. Even like when I was in UK, when I eat, even I still have the problem. It's kind of loud, It's loud as a kind of in the village. Nobody cared. You're louder, that's louder, and you can attract maybe dogs from other families. It's not a big deal. But in UK, they said, "Oh, you're loud. You're chewing loud." It's kind of then your feeling get hurt. You say, like, why did you pick on me? It's kind of it's my whole life I went through roller coaster. It's amazing. So that's why I'm super sensitive even today, but I'm for good. So I can understand why people they think that way because I'm coming from that position. It's super poor, and then every time something, I gonna think you guys, you look down me. You try to want to hurt my feelings. I had a lot of physical fights with my classmates, dorm mates. It's kind of, they were jokingly saying something, normal conversation. It's crazy. But that's why I'm saying like good education and then good job.
When I was, I just spent 5 months out of Canada. I was traveling and I was living actually first in Mexico, then I was in Colombia for about 2 months. And Colombia is a tough place, actually.
But why do
Colombia, they have
They have a lot of issues.
Yeah, a lot of social problems.
That's the thing. Why don't they, like you have first countries, right? What is that called? First world country. Why do the South Americans, they have democracy, that democratic system? But why don't they have, a lot of people told me they have crazy corruption problem. Why don't they just manage or organize the whole country better?
That's a big question that I can't answer easily, but I can tell you that the places I know well, like Mexico and Colombia, the gangs are more powerful than the government. Like really, the people with the most power in those countries are illegal, and
the cartels.
They have a lot of financial reason why they don't want anything to change. Even if their own country suffers, even if people are dying, even if people have no money, they have money. And they have the guns, so they don't care.
That could be the reason for the potholes in Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah, the powerful people are okay with it.
That's really crazy because South American countries, they have a lot of resources, and the weather is amazing, and the people, all the people in the world and different
countries, all the every fruit in the world,
exactly,
naturally beautiful and perfect climate,
and also people always great, right? Always amazing people.
But I just remember when I was in Colombia, I only traveled with one pair of shoes, and the shoes actually had they had holes in them. I have a problem with my big toe. Sometimes I get holes in my. You don't need to know this, but I get holes in my shoes.
Okay.
Because my big toe is like it's pretty big. Like my nail just cuts a hole.
Yeah.
So I have holes in these shoes, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm kind of embarrassed because like I'm a foreign guy and I'm walking around in a big city. People like in big cities everywhere. People like to dress nicer.
Yeah.
And I have holes in my shoes, and every time I look, I'm like, I should buy new shoes. But I never bought new shoes for two reasons. Number one, because first of all, if you're a foreign guy, you don't want to look like you have a lot of money. Okay. Maybe I have my Apple laptop in my backpack, and I don't need to be wearing like brand new stuff, so someone thinks they can rob me and get a lot of money. Because that happens a lot in Colombia. It's sad, but I know a lot of people who got robbed down there, and thankfully it never happened to me. But that's one reason. Okay, if I have clothing that looks older, or I have holes in my shoes, whatever, it's actually probably going to help me in some way, even if it doesn't feel as good for me. But reason number two, it goes back to what you were saying about how people treat you different. I feel like the friends you really want to make in life, they don't give a damn if you have a hole in your shoe. No. If I make a friend who, like, when I am not dressing special or showing a lot of money, then that's a real friend. The kind of person who would only want to hang out with you because you got new shoes or a nice car, like, that's not a real friend. That's just a rich person or someone who wants to be rich, who wants to be, like, with their own type. Yeah. And I think that's a really, like, that's a problem humans have, that materialistic view. I think, I travel a lot, and you travel a lot as well, from what I hear. Some of the more interesting people you meet are the hippies who actually have no money. Sometimes they just live out of
hippies.
They just live out of a backpack. Those people
I really admire hippies.
Are very, very interesting. They have a lot of good stories.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have no money. They have everything but money.
Free ideas.
Yeah.
But the thing, dressing up good, like I had the similar story in South America. The Rio de Janeiro spent there for a month.
Right.
It's really amazing. That was 2003 or 2004. So, like, even I have colleagues from same company, even they wear the sportswear of Nikes. They even rob you. They just strip you of the Nikes, the sports pants and the jacket, and then just Nikes. Like, and also I really amazed. Like in Rio de Janeiro or the Sao Paulo, that time my summer colleagues in Sao Paulo, they're saying when they rob you, they just came up to you and with a gun to your waist to say, give me your whatever, like your what you wear and then your wallet, and so peaceful, even nobody gonna notice. I really amazed, like that time, like never heard of that robbery could be that peaceful because nobody talks, and even the people passing you, they don't notice because there's no physical thing, they just a gun at you and then you strip to your underwear. They give you, that's amazing. So that's why the colleagues being there before, they ask us, like, we enjoy the beaches of the Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana, or the Ibrahim, or what is the other one. So Ipanema, we used to live, because the place we live there, only 5 minutes we can go to the beach. They always, we wear shorts to jog or like to go to the beach to play, ask them to play the beach, the soccer. It's amazing.
Soccer.
Yeah, beach soccer.
And they're so good down there.
Yeah, exactly. That's really amazing. You cannot play with hands with what they can do with their feet. Yeah. And then all the colleagues ask, you only take 10 reals or 20 reals. Even somebody rob you.
So you get robbed, it's
exactly.
Okay.
It's only 10, 20 reals. At that time, like, You know, but it's so beautiful. And then, but you know, it's really weird that you definitely know the country is not well run, well managed, right?
Yes.
It's really amazing for like the people so beautiful, the country so beautiful, the people so nice, and then somehow it's not managed well, and nothing come like with the Canadians. When I came here, I found really amazing is the best thing. That's my opinion. Best thing about Canada or United States is people respect rules. The consensus of rules, you know, it's amazing. You know, you always in the society always have 10% people they don't give a damn about rules. They always break rules, but majority of people they support rules, and then like when they see somebody breaking rules, they speak up. They point out, oh, you are breaking rules. So when the majority of people following rules, that's the beauty of the society of the Western countries. It's amazing. And when you have issues, your neighbors or the people you don't know, they support you as long as you're doing things right. You know, that's not happening in other like underdeveloped countries. Like some countries, they just I want to play safe. You know, they don't speak up for you.
Rules in Colombia do not exist.
Exactly. That's
like it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't been there. I'm sure Brazil, your time in Brazil, you experienced that too. For example, Uber is illegal in Colombia, but I took Uber every single day because the taxis are like literally. I know people in the taxis who the taxi driver has driven them in the exact wrong direction to a poor neighborhood and then like pulled out a gun and robbed them. So the taxi driver, this guy's a licensed guy with his driver, and like the idea like that will never ever happen to you here. That's because the process is different. It's hard to get the license. It's expensive to get the license.
That's why I think like coming from a background, my background, also seeing different part of the world, different countries. I think really I appreciate the system. The system is to make majority of people believe in rules, and it's so you can live together. You are more capable. You're working harder than other people. You probably get more returns. You know, but overall, you can. There's no great system, but we are saying like you are not the worst. You know, it's as long as the majority of people they believe in something common. You know, it's very very interesting. Over all these years, I was thinking, what's the difference between like the Western countries, and it's not the people. It's somehow the system you can trust. And even some smart people they don't trust. They break rules. Those are the top smart people, but that's not majority. All the
CEOs.
All some people
they make their own rules.
Yeah, they break. Rules always being broken, but only very very few. As long as not majority, it's not too bad. It's really amazing. Like that's why I like Montreal, Canada. But when I see things, because I'm always like engineer thinking, when I see things not making sense, like all the mayors, premiers, they look at the potholes, not doing nothing, not saying nothing. That's something you don't appreciate, you don't like, but it's not end of the world. It's you still have a lot of good stuff. People, majority of people.
I'm afraid that Canada is. We've kind of lost our. Like we're still a relatively new country. We talk about Canada being 150 years old as the modern country that we know it. And I feel like maybe my parents' generation, my grandparents, there was like an optimism, like we're like building something. We're literally building the new world. Canada, America, like we're these huge lands where anyone can come and you're going to get a nice house and you're going to get a family with 2 kids and you're going to be part of this new world. Whereas today, first of all, like there's problems like housing where like no one can afford that house
that's crazy
people used to have. And there's also just the feeling that like we're not building anything huge anymore. We're just like kind of trying to survive and we're like working for tech companies and stuff, but it's not like, it's maybe not as exciting as the world used to be for looking at the future. And it's hard to complain because like you get to eat amazing meals like this. You get to walk around a modern city. It's pretty safe compared to most places. But I do feel like when I'm in somewhere like Vietnam, people are like we're really building this country. There's like an excitement of like we're developing. Yeah. Whereas in Canada, it's like we've already developed. Now we're just like relaxing. But other countries are catching up quick. So I don't know if we're the country of the future. We're just like a comfortable place, you know?
Comfortable and then slowly going down, I guess.
For example, cell phones. You complain about the potholes. I complain about the price of our cell phones.
Yes.
We have some of the most expensive plans in the world. And I try to tell people, like, when you go to Europe, when you go to Asia, people don't pay $100 a month for like 2 gigabytes. It's ridiculous what we get here. But people are just like, oh, whatever.
And we used to have BlackBerry and used to have the Notel, the top company in the world.
Yeah, BlackBerry, yeah.
And the Notel. And now but I guess a lot of top people, they go to United States though. The top Canadians, the top talents.
We do have that problem.
Yeah.
Brain drain. Yeah. You know, someone described Canada, the U.S., it's like, someone described the United States as like, it's like a symphony. You know, a symphony, you have very high and then very low. It's like, it has everything. It has extremely poor people. It has the richest people. Whereas Canada is like more in the middle.
More flat, yeah.
If you're poor in Canada, it's probably better than the United States. We don't have these huge tent cities like Los Angeles. And some of these places are getting really bad. But we also don't have like Elon Musk or like the richest of the rich. We are just like, both sides are cut a bit, you know? Which, it makes me proud that we're a country that, for the most part, looks after poor people. We're not perfect. We still have problems, but for the most part, like no one is starving on the streets of Canada. Like you have resources.
The United States is kind of unequal. You know, inequity is the gap is very, very big. But like I guess they have sometimes. I call them imperial. What is the imperialists?
Imperialists.
Yeah, because you have to force people to work extremely hard to produce like more results and more kind of power to kind of use it in the military instead of giving the tax rate they collect. Instead of spending on the education or the public health, they spend on military, and then the more money they spend on military, the less money put in the health, public health, and also education. They make people aware if you don't work hard enough and you are not taken care. You know, you have to work hard to move up the social ladder. So that's give you them enough motivation or too much motivation to work hard enough. You know, the same situation like the people in Canada, they work much less than the United States. The people in the United States work much harder. That's why they put capital, they produce more stuff, either products or the services than in Canada.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you know, they use that extra money to support the military. That's called imperialism.
A lot of Americans don't travel either. There's people who live in cities like Seattle and New York, or you live like 2 hours from the Canadian border, and people are like, they go their whole lives, they never go to Canada, they never go to Mexico. They feel like America has like everything they want or everything they need.
Did you try this?
I did.
It's like a snack. I call them Chinese version of the FPK.
But you eat the bones, or you
no,
you chew at the bones. Okay.
Because a snack, but it's super spicy.
Yeah, that's nice. You mentioned you have a daughter, right?
Yeah, she's 9.
9.
That's why I think
I'm interested to know how you will raise your daughter given the life you had, because you obviously understand the idea of hard work, right? Because it sounds like you had to work very hard to get to where you are. But now you're in a country where you said Canadians don't work as hard. So do you go for that hard work? Or do you say you need to enjoy your life more? Like what's your perspective on raising a kid?
About 20 years ago when I was in college, I had the stupid idea to save.
Stupid idea.
Yeah. In the university time or the first years of my first job, I was thinking, I went through the hardship my childhood. I want my child to go through the same thing. So
Okay.
Because it makes me stronger, mentally stronger.
Which makes you tough.
Yeah, because nobody even today, if you tell me to go to meet a president or Mr. Trudeau to say, Trudeau, you're not doing the job or something like you messed up, I probably will go there. I don't care, because I went through so much. So, but I believe myself is a decent person. I do good things for the society. I try my best, but I'm not shy anymore. So a lot of things, even I have a lot of setbacks in my life 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it won't, not big deal. If I die today, probably I will feel fine. I feel I did a lot of stuff.
I hope you don't die before this video is over.
It's the thing. I'm very like what is the philosophical, because I think a lot because of my experience. So sometime when I was young, I would think about I want my children to go through the same. I literally was thinking to send. I was living in the big city like Shenzhen. I have the Shenzhen hukou, Shenzhen resident registration system. So it's kind of that the ID you carry with the first three digits or the ID, they tell you the city you live in, you belong to. So the first three digits, the numbers of your ID card. So it shows you from Shenzhen. So you're kind of proud. So even though I was living in a big city, I'm really accepted in the big city. I feel like, when I have my child, I probably send him with my grandparents to go through the same thing. You walk on the field, lifting like 20 kilograms or whatever. The bag is like 40 kilograms of grain. We carry a lot of those bags, like a bag of wheat and a bag of the rice. It's like 40 or 45 kilograms. So that heavy. Wow. So I want my child to be that tough. Wow. You have to go through the steel, to kind of make you strong. Then
but
like
you change your mind?
I was stupid. Your wife won't agree.
A lot of people still feel that way.
My wife is from city. She had a different, like if I even dare not to bring up the idea to send our kid to a child.
What did she say?
That could be the most stupid thing ever. It's but it helped me.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, it helped me to, in the university time, I always had the idea to kill somebody if somebody offended me. Seriously, I was super violent, super violent, like angry young person. Like some big news in China. Sometimes you see the young people killed all the dorm mates in the university. One guy hammered like all 6 or 5 of the dorm mates. I kind of understand because he felt he was offended. So I was on the brink of some of the same thought process one time in my university time. It's kind of that's why I feel really lucky because it did not break me. It did not break me sometime, like especially when it's like the university time. But when you are young and then you feel the whole society treating you really unfairly, and sometimes you have young people really, when they feel really mistreated many times, so they can revenge a lot of times. They can do some stupid things, but then they regret. Fortunately, I did not do any stupid things. That I did some, but not that major,
I mean, there is that famous quote which says, if only the world was divided into good people and evil people, then it would be easy. Yeah. We would just find all the evil people and lock them up, and then the world would be good. But it's not like that.
Yeah, no.
The line between good and evil goes directly through every human's heart.
Yeah.
And I think it's very true. We all have the ability. There's a world in which every one of us can be very good and very evil. And it's about the decisions you make every day.
Even today, I feel like I'm super lucky in Canada to be in Montreal. Super lucky. That's why I like ideas, people's idea. You probably really you have great ideas when I watch your videos. And for me and for like my daughter, like she's 9, I find it's pretty amazing. Like she has own idea, so I don't want to influence her too much because even during the pandemic, I'm super busy in the restaurant, so I did not have too much time with her. and also I think it could be a good thing because I don't want to like influence her too much because my experience may not be good to her. It's like it's like my generation almost done. I guess we are sometimes damaged goods. It's it's kind of. I don't want to have too much influence, so she's gonna play with her little friends here or there from different cultural backgrounds, and she's gonna learn her own lessons and then make home mistakes.
Oh, I mean, my dad really wanted me to work for the government and to follow his footsteps, like very really
secure.
wanted it, and he pressured me to apply for the government, and I did once. I went through the application process and everything, and I did it in person. I made it to the second round of interviews and everything, and I didn't get picked. But afterwards, my dad is like, "Oh well, you learned a lot. You can do it next year, and then you'll be ready." But I didn't want to. I only did it to make him happy in the first place.
That's why
I knew I was kind of relieved when I didn't get picked. In the back of my mind, I was like, "Well, now I can do other things I want to do." But I could tell that it hurt him a bit to know that. Because he wanted what was best for his son in terms of financial safety, follow his footsteps. It's the life he knows. Yeah. And that was a hard thing to explain. Like, listen, that's your path, but I got to find my own path. And will be harder. It will have good times and bad times. Maybe I won't have a big house at the end. I don't know, but
that's
it's the path I need to have.
That's why you are super lucky. You are like, for me, I can never have that kind of freedom. But I admire people who have the freedom thinking. But for me, I was molded that way being like 30, 40 years. So I admire people, they have crazy ideas, they pursue the ideas, they pursue their dreams. But I could never do that. But I do admire people, they have the courage to do something not safe, not playing safe. But I'm always playing safe because I cannot change myself.
Well, you change countries, you're running a successful business. You do the menu your own way, you make jokes which people notice and appreciate. I think you're playing.
I really like comedy. If one day my English is good enough, I want to be a comedian.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I want to, because my life experience, I always make jokes, but my English level would be, even like the interaction part is really crazy. Interaction, like this is things you don't have the knowledge of the things they're referring to. It's very hard for me to understand. Why do you laugh? It's kind of awkward. But that's the thing. Like the way you think, I think so differently because like you still, for me, if I were 30 years old, 31, 30, I would think, okay, I need to, at least I need to make sure my job is very good and then have to get married, have a kids in 2 years, and then like have a house or whatever, and then always playing safe because I always worry. The thing is, I always worry about the stability. That's the thing. It's very difficult to change.
And I bet that your upbringing has something to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to break away.
I have a friend who his name is Tim. Shout out to Tim. Tim is. I grew up in Winnipeg, another part of Canada, and one of my friends, Tim, this guy is an artist. He's very, very naturally gifted with, first he did illegal art, like spray paint and stuff. But then he got
graffiti.
Then he got
one day. One guy came to our the bathroom in the second floor, asking for a bathroom, and then next morning I saw the graffiti on the. Jeez. How bold is that? Yeah, that's crazy. During the pandemic,
this city has a problem with
I remember that guy. Can I use your bathroom? I said, go ahead. But this next day, I think that guy is not that normal. He was having a backpack. The way he asked, like, I guess the next day I saw that, I feel like I should not let people, not customer, to use the bathroom.
Well, that's not my friend Tim who did that, but he's actually a very good artist. He's not just writing his name on someone's illegal bathroom. But he grew up very poor. He never knew his father. He grew up with a single mother, and I know Tim for a long time. His family does not have a lot of money. But all through school, he would be in the just drawing in his book and amazing sketches. He's naturally gifted.
Yeah, some people.
And then he was among my friends. He was the first of us to get a job, in high school, the first one. So every night after school, hardworking guy. And as soon as he got a job where he was making a good amount of money, doing some construction job, and get his own apartment, he never left that job because he felt like,
have to
finally I have the financial security I never grew up with. Finally, I can have all the food I want. I can have my apartment. Everything is safe. And I always tried to, it's his life. Everyone has their own life. But I always tried to remind him, like, hey, man, like when I needed a new logo for my YouTube channel, I called Tim, and Tim was like, I'll do it for free. And I was like, no, I want to pay you because you're a good artist and you need to know that your art is worth money, because it is. So I tried to lead him along the way a little bit to be like, and he's done a few projects. Like he got to work and illustrate a kid's book and stuff, but it's still, he's never taken the leap to do full-time artist. And
because it's risky. Really
I understand
risky.
It's really risky. And I think the whole world is full of people like that, actually, who, I wonder what the world would look like if everyone didn't have to worry about money and just did what they really wanted to. There's so many artists out there. There's so many musicians who have all these things to share, but we don't have the chance.
For me, I want to talk to people to see the different ideas. I'm very political as well, because that's part of way of my for me to learn English. So I listen a lot of watch a lot of news from United States. It's give me a lot of thinking. That's why I find talking to people to find different ideas is so amazing. It's like totally opposite. Sometimes you are in the United States they call left right. Sometimes they totally opposite. The single thing happened, the same thing, and the one event. The two sides they can have totally opposite understanding, and then accuse each other. That's really amazing.
Yeah, people get very upset on the internet if you have opinions about a lot of topics.
But people really are brave. You have so many brave people to openly, publicly, to tell their opinions, even though their opinions can anger a lot of other people. A lot of people, some people, smart people, some commentators or some people, the public figures, they're really smart, but some of them really dumb. Or they just want to say something to please their camp. But the thing, they don't have common sense. They don't have logics. But maybe they believe they stick with their own camp. Anything, whatever they say is okay. They like to hear those kind of narratives. But there's no common sense, no logics at all. But that's having no common sense or not logical. It's part of the beauty as well. You see a lot of stupid ideas, stupid people, and then it's interesting.
When I was I took a trip recently where I was traveling with a group of 6 people, and most of them were from Florida. They're all Americans and all Republicans, to the right, Trump supporters, like that. But good people. Some Canadians would think, oh, they're awful Trump supporters. They're destroying the world. No, these are good, friendly people. We spent a week together. But sometimes when they started talking politics, a couple of them actually worked in politics as campaign advisors. So they are really, that's their world, They're really the people who are supporting the Republicans in Florida and stuff. And I would bring up, I would just poke questions just to poke them a bit, so you really think climate change is a hoax? What do you think about that? And I would just ask questions. And sometimes, mostly we were friendly, but sometimes, it starts to get a bit heated. So I said, you must think I am just some liberal, snowflake from Canada. You must think I am far, far left, right? And this guy said to me, he's like, no, I think you just like to, basically, I think you just like to be a troll. I think you just like
just making fun of us.
Make fun of everything. And I was like, you're right. Because if there was someone who I thought was crazy, who was on the far left and saying the opposite things, I would do the same thing. I would ask questions. I would just say so you really think those people are Nazis or whatever? Because I think it's fun to, maybe fun is the wrong word. I just find it interesting to really go deep and know what people think. Like you're saying, we spend so much time just arguing about things, but do we actually ask people, that's interesting, where did you get that view from?
Exactly.
Why do you think this? You don't have all the answers.
Yeah, you have to explain things, you know.
Yeah, try to go like, why? Get 3 levels deeper, and then you start to see, oh, okay, this is your perspective. This is your perspective. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, but you both know something.
You have to have common sense, or like you have to bring your arguments before you say a conclusion, right? A lot of people right now, they tell you narratives, the conclusions without telling you the logics or the thinking behind. Yeah. That's kind of, a lot of people buying that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, with all respect to China and these different countries around the world, that's one thing I personally believe very strongly in, is freedom of speech, because that's where these different ideas can be shared. You know, our Canada, like, we have many problems, but I think the fact that we can openly talk about them, that's where solutions start to come from. You know?
Yeah, that's weird. That's what. Maybe this is not good to my business, but I always think the Prime Minister Trudeau is not competent. He's not competent at all for my level, for my understanding. He's not competent. But most amazing, recently he made the Emergency Act, like within a
for COVID, you mean?
Yeah, for the truckers. You can agree or disagree of the truckers, but that's not a thing. You can apply the Emergency Act. That's kind of authoritarian, right? It's crazy.
I mean, I was in Colombia and I had 2 different people. One guy was Irish, and one guy, I think, was from Peru. Like 2 people from 2 different countries. They both said to me, hey, like, what's going on with these truckers? I hear Trudeau is like a dictator now. Your country is like a dictator. I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? I just see some news about truckers in Ottawa. I'm like, what? Then I started like looking. They're like, yeah, he's like shutting down their bank accounts.
It's really crazy.
So people in Canada, listen, I'm not saying, I don't know enough about the truckers to even have an opinion. But I can tell you that this was a world story, and it was not a good moment for Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
These are people from other continents who are like, Canada, like, what is going on? I thought you were a good place. Now you're like shutting down these truckers.
A lot of immigrants came here because they had the belief to let people.
It was a big story.
Yeah, because but at least you need to talk to them and negotiate, right? Because you're seeing a lot of protests all over, right? On all different issues. You don't bring the hammer, right away. You know, you have the tolerance. That's what tolerance. The tolerance attract people to Canada. But then now you acted like, what the hell? Like, you from like grade 0 to grade 10 right away. You know, directly. You don't. You used to be a Mr. Nice, right? He was used apologize for everything. He was playing soft, playing nice, and then he fired the lady from the justice, like the Aboriginal minister. Like, that time I really like, what the hell? Why you like pro woman, you support women, and then this lady justice like she did not agree with you handling with SNC Lavalin what is SNC Lavalin or something? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
because the scandal thing, and you did not agree with her and you just fired her. Like, you playing tough or you playing nice? Like,
you know, his father was also prime minister.
Yeah, I know.
You know about Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Why the airport was named after, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I know a lot of Canadian, but the thing like attract us, like the people from outside of Canada to come to Canada to see, like, it's a great place to respect the people's right to express their different opinions. Sometimes it's peaceful. Sometimes instigator or something. Like, some people is not so peaceful, you know. A lot of protests, they're not peaceful because when they talk to you and then you don't listen, then they bring protests. Sometimes they up a little game a little bit, right? And you don't like it, it's fine. And then you talk, you negotiate, and you play nice before. Now you suddenly bring your knife to see, like, if you don't listen, I'm gonna kill you. That's kind of. It's kind of whole.
Well, they were trying to say that this is basically, it's like terrorism, like they are terrorizing people in downtown Ottawa.
What the hell? In Montreal, we have so many protests. A lot worse than that. Sometimes
there was this Black Canadian guy who I met when I was in Colombia, and like, he had just came down to Colombia, and we started talking about the trucker thing, and I was like, "Oh, you're from Ottawa? Like, so what was the deal with that?" trucker protest.
It's very dramatic though.
And this guy is just he's like, man, like I live in downtown Ottawa. There was honking. That was it. There was honking. These people were friendly, but not what the news was trying
Justin
to make
Trudeau was
like,
playing nice guy, and it was always playing nice. Apologized to everything about everybody.
That's a Canadian way. Apologize.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're a nice guy, and then suddenly you kind of evil guy to see like, I'm the authority. I need to kind of, if you don't listen to me, you cause trouble. I kind of beat you down. It's just kind of, it's too dramatic for me. Like, why do you behave like this? You know, you can, the protest is part of this thing. Like that's the way we admire. Oh, people can protest. It's like to curse people, to curse the public figures or officials. That thing is kind of totally like I would say like not only you are incompetent, and then you probably too much authoritarian. You are not tolerant. It's like. He never talked to those guys. You just label them with the infringed minority, whatever the word I look up the word in the dictionary. My English is not that good. So what is the minority infringement? That's crazy. It's like when you label them easily to the terrorists or all those kind of racists, you label them easily. When you see people start labeling people with all those bad words. You're doing something not good. You don't have good intention.
I think. Here's my view. I think that the Canadian government has been very, very strict on COVID.
It's good. It's fine. It's whatever you.
But like we need to like as you know, like a lot of countries in Asia have been very strict. But like our biggest neighbor, our only neighbor, is the United States, and Canadians have seen how the United States has been much more open. Most people there are not wearing masks anymore now. Okay, people have different views on this, right? More people have died. We did what we had to do, but I think with the trucker movement. People are being critical of Trudeau's handling of COVID. They're saying, like, we need to cross the border. You need to get rid of these policies. And by the way, get rid of the mask, get rid of everything. We're done. And that's when it started to grow. It was like an anti-restriction movement. And I feel like Trudeau overreacted because they are like, we can't let the public think that all that we did was wrong. Like, they're turning against us. People are turning against us. So we need to make these people look bad. We need to tell you they're terrorists or they're like, they're supporting their far right movement. So I think they started to lie and say this is a different thing.
But
and they make it look like an evil movement.
But he was Mr. Nice, and then show his true face or something. It's crazy. That's like, what the hell you were doing? But he was not talking to any of them at the beginning for like long time. And if you talk to them, let's negotiate conditions. What do you want, and then what we can offer. It's the negotiation. That's why it's crazy when I saw that. Oh, this man, what's going on? It's kind of a. But at the same time, and also the NDP and then the Liberal, they kind of join together to kind of make sure like you have the rest of the majority, a minority government. That alliance is really bad. But in Canada, conservative can never win anything. but the problem, the two parties join force together on all issues. That's not good. It's interesting. But it's kind of you have to be, if you want to be nice, you be a nice person. If you have mistake, you admit mistake. You already apologize for a lot of things not your fault, and that's like pretending. It's interesting. But I never like this guy. His only thing for me, good thing is his look is great. It's the image. Like he visited all different countries. Oh, we have a handsome prime minister of Canada.
Yeah, like lots of people around the world are like, oh, Canada, Justin Trudeau. Yeah.
Great, looking great, looking great. It's a handsome guy. A lot of like we have used before the
politics.
Before the Huawei vice president issue in Vancouver. Before that, Canada was really popular in China. Very popular. You have a handsome prime minister and very nice nice country, and then after that everything went downhill. Like, you're evil country.
Well,
but actually, after the Vietnam, where did you go? Like how do you feel like it's kind of like financially secure doing what you are doing, or like?
No, I mean, like after Vietnam, I yeah, back to the story. After we did a lot of talking about a lot of things, but after Vietnam, yeah, like I actually kind of felt like a failure at that time in my life because when I moved to Vietnam,
How old were you then?
I was probably like 25.
That's pretty early in your life.
But the thing is, like, I had lived in Korea and I taught English. I lived in France and I'd been a bartender. And each time after that, I would go home to my parents' home because I didn't have an apartment or anything anymore, right? I left my life behind. So for a month or two, I'd be at home and like back in my mom's house, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I need to go. So I decided, actually, no, this time I'd actually worked. For the summer, I worked in an office in Winnipeg. So I was like doing a normal job again, living at home. Okay, I'm 25 now. I live with my mom. Okay, whatever. Some of my friends live on their own.
But you traveled a lot. Your mom is a proud mom. Say, "Ah, my good boy."
Well, yeah, you know. But anyway,
seeing a lot of the world.
So I was back to this job, and then I actually started reading this book by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek. I don't know if you know that.
Is that inspiration thing, like a life guide?
It's one of those books about how to work on the internet and how to. Yeah, it's inspiration, but it's also practical advice for how if you live somewhere cheaper and you're earning more expensive currencies, you can really support a lifestyle that is not possible otherwise. So I started reading about people who are doing these things, and I started. I was doing my blog in the background, making just a little bit of money, not enough to survive, but the idea was if I go to Vietnam, I'll give myself 6 months to like try and be a full-time writer, try to really get this thing working.
So what are you writing about? The different cultures, the travel thing?
Yeah, advice for travelers to Vietnam.
That could be a good thing, business.
Yeah, like some of the things I'm offering, like gifts for travelers and making a bit of money off the revenue and stuff. And so I went to Vietnam, and Vietnam's a very affordable place. As I said, the soup's for $1. You don't spend much. You don't have to. But I never fully got it off the ground. And by the end, I felt like the blog had kind of failed. It was doing okay, but I didn't make a lot. I had less money than I came with. I never made much money. I just had fun. I picked up a camera. I'd started doing YouTube, but I wasn't making any money from that yet. But I just had some fun. And then I moved back to Canada. This is when I moved to Vancouver with my girlfriend at the time. We went there together, and I got another like real desk job. And I felt like that was the end of my travels. I thought like it was fun. I had 2.5 years, and that was like, I should be lucky. Most people don't even get that.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's time to grow up, get a real shirt, get a real job. You're in your mid-20s, Dan. Like, well, I didn't have a tie, but I had a nice collar, And I worked for this tech startup for a while, and but in the side, I was doing YouTube videos around Vancouver. I was just following that passion. So I would work 40 hours a week, and then I would do like another 30, 40 hours just doing YouTube. I was obsessed. Anyone who knows me at that time will tell you I was just obsessed with this passion that was taking all my hours.
That's like a Mr. Beast. You could be what? Like Mr. Beast.
I think every YouTuber has that time in their life where it's just like, I don't know, man. I had to do something. I wasn't happy with my life. I didn't want to do this desk job because I tasted freedom. I tasted what it's like to be in Vietnam and you're in a foreign country and you're doing whatever you want to do. And now I was back and it was suffocating me, And I eventually quit that job after about, I don't know, 8 months or something like that. It's always like 6 months, 8 months.
That's your number.
My whole life.
8 is your number.
I get the itch.
Yeah. That's 7 years each, and you are 8 months each.
Yeah. And it was actually, it's a bit of a crazy story, but I have my father's brother, a guy named Pete, my uncle Peter. He lived in Costa Rica for like 25 years. Okay. He grew up in Canada, grew up in Ottawa, worked a job in like marketing and sales. But then when he saved enough money, he went to Costa Rica and loved it so much, he bought a property down there. Before Costa Rica was big on tourism, like, you know, the 90s, like before everything started blooming. And he got a property and he had a little thing that he was renting out, like a rental, before Airbnb, basically doing that. You know?
That's a good investment.
Yeah, and like my whole life, like I only met the guy once or twice my whole life, and I would do little video chats because like he's in Costa Rica, he lives down there full time, and I always thought like, what a cool guy! Like he escaped the rat race. Yeah. He was in one of those sales marketing jobs, and then he found a way out. He's in paradise, and after I'd quit my job in Vancouver and I was just doing the video stuff, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. That same summer, my uncle had a problem with his stomach, and very abruptly he got sick and then he died. Like within 3 days he died, and my family had a problem with, because he had the property down there and we had no one else in Costa Rica. We needed to sell the property for his kids to get, I mean, it was their inheritance, you know. There was all these logistical things that needed to be solved, and I was the one in the family who was like the travel addict. And I had just quit my job. Yeah. So I got the call from my dad saying, like, could you live down there for a bit? And I'll fly you down there. Can you live there and help us basically like get rid of this business, you know? Sell the house. And that's what I did for the next few months. I went down there, had a free place to stay, and started doing videos in Costa Rica. So it was kind of a blessing because it was exactly what I needed at that time, an interesting place to live and just do videos and focus full-time on YouTube. And it was also, it taught me a lot about like what our life is really about, because like I said, I didn't know this guy, Uncle Peter, very well. Only a few conversations. But when I went to the town he lived in, this place, Manuel Antonio, he'd been there 25 years. I met a lot of people down there who had stories about my uncle. Oh, man. And so I got to know him after death just by saying, yeah, I'm his nephew. Like that, Pete was my uncle. I met a Costa Rican guy at a hardware store who told me, your uncle was my first foreign friend I ever made. First foreign I ever made friends with.
It's a legend.
Yeah, like he was like a larger than life personality, you know, and it showed me that really our life is about the stories we leave behind. The people we touch.
But they speak Spanish there, right? They all speak Spanish there?
Well, they do, but this is right next to a national park, so they get a lot of tourism. So my uncle never, he's like you with French, you know, like, like
English was
tried, but yeah, he spoke English. He spoke English. I mean, he had two ex-wives who were both like kind of fighting over the will, and like there was like some drama.
Yeah. Like the trial of the Johnny Depp right now.
Yeah.
A lot of drama.
Exactly. My uncle was you been watching that, the trial?
I did not have time for, I know what happened a little bit there, here, there, but this is live streaming.
It must be embarrassing, you know, like your personal life is so like, this is so important to you, and now the millions of people just watching everything.
I guess people with that level, they don't care, I guess. I don't know, because we've never been there, because they were so successful. Like we are struggling, and they were already successful. I guess they don't care that much, and I guess it could be their stage. It's like apprentice of Donald Trump. This could be their stage.
I mean, it's weird when your life is also shared with the world.
But if you don't care, probably enjoy. You know, it's how you see, how you take the problem. Like, you know, how you. I listen to the Joe Rogan, the guru, like from India. How do you react? Sadhguru. Yeah. How do you react to the world?
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah, that guy was amazing. When I listened to that podcast,
big beard.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like if he said, if I say some bad words to you in the dialect of Indian dialect, and it's assaulting to you, and you even don't know, I smile saying that to you, you don't feel insulted. Like that's alive, and that's why I feel like the same way. Even I feel like sometimes it's unfair to me. Some mistreated me. As long it's not hurting me. A lot of time it hurt me. Sometimes it sting a little bit, but after 5 seconds, I'm fine. You're idiot. You know, it's kind of, I'm thick skin now. I feel like, you know, it's That's the Indian guru. I really like find that guy is so smart. You know, it's kind of the life lesson. If you don't feel assaulted, like insulted or whatever, you feel whatever, you can always stay happy. You don't care. If you don't care, it's fine. It's all everything the battles between inside your head. If you don't care, even you as long as you're not slapping me, even you slap me, it's fine. It's just make my face a little bit bigger. It's swelling. It's not a big deal.
So when I was traveling in places like Colombia, where actually they don't see a lot of Asians down there, there's not a large Asian population. And if I'm with a friend who is Asian, sometimes little kids will not just look, they will be like, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Or like
that's Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my friend is not Japanese. Even the eyes, I've seen a couple of little kids go like that with their fingers and go konnichiwa. And my friend, she laughs and she says, hello, hello, and then keeps walking. And I asked, like, you know, how do you feel? That was like pretty racist from where I'm from. Like those kids, like, how do you feel about that? And she's like, well, you know, some people might perceive that as racist and they might decide to get angry. But as you say, it's a decision. She is like, I decide to see those friendly kids who are just trying to say hello. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, the eyes, someone should tell them, hey, that's fucked up. Don't do that. But they're kids. There's no hate in their heart. And so I decide to see it as just someone saying hello. And then I go on with my life. If somebody decides to be angry and upset and write a blog post, all these racist kids in Colombia, you should be canceled. And
only issue I have is...
That's your decision. That's your decision.
Yeah, only issue I have, why don't you say ni hao instead of konnichiwa?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Let's sit down and then have a nice...
At least be correct.
Yeah, ni hao. Ni hao means good morning Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, good day. Yeah, that's amazing. So what happened like in that Costa Rica?
Well, I spent the next...
So you made a lot of videos in Costa Rica?
I made about, I would say about 30 videos living down there. I had no idea when the house would sell, right? Like, I was hearing like, like if everything goes well, like maybe like...
Do they have notary as well?
Months.
Do they have notary office as well? With the same system, similar system? When you sell, you have registered with notary?
Yeah, but everything down there is like really slow, and like even the government offices, it's like they're only open 2 days a week. They just decide to be closed today, or they want a bribe to get the form that is like right behind them. Like everything there is a bit inefficient, to say the least.
That's crazy.
But no, the house actually sold very quickly. So unexpectedly quickly, after about 3.5 months, 4 months, it was done. And this was November. And remember, I had left my life in Vancouver. I didn't have an apartment there anymore. I'd left everything for this big new adventure. And then winter is coming. The 5 months of rain is coming. So and the YouTube videos are doing okay. So I had a decision to make. And me and my girlfriend at the time, we decided to go to Mexico. We decided to go to Mexico City and just try it for a month and make some videos there and see how things go. And long story short, the videos started to explode. From the very first video, it got more views than I'd ever had before. And that month turned into 2 months, turned into 4 months, turned into 1 year. Ended up living a year down there. And by the end of the year, I was a full-time making videos.
Jeez.
Mexico is where everything... That country always has a special place in my heart because that's where it all started.
And also Mexico is very popular for the tourists.
Very popular for tourists.
Yeah. Cancun, whatever the...
Great food, great people, great weather. That's the combination.
Their food, like Chinese food, Mexican food, it's amazing. The Trois Amigos, I always go there bring my daughter, like several times with my daughter, like Trois Amigos.
But also like Chinese food, there's real Mexican food, and then there's like
North American, or the
like
the Western
nacho cheese and stuff. They don't eat that so much, but they have their own depths. You know. Excuse me. But
that's amazing. So the first year you made a lot of video in Mexico, and then when did you come to Montreal?
After Mexico, left Mexico in 2018. At that time, started to travel again. Went for 2019. I mean, went home to Winnipeg for a bit. Went to Korea for a bit. Went to Thailand for a bit. At that point, my channel was growing, and I was able to work some tourism boards. So I got invited to fly to some places like Kazakhstan. I went on a trip to Kazakhstan for 2 weeks, and
Jeez.
I thought that was a scam email. When I got the email in my inbox from Kazakhstan tourism, I was like, okay, there's no way someone in Kazakhstan has seen my videos. I think this, I almost pressed delete. Like, I think this is like some scam. But then I'm like, okay, I'll reply. And then a few emails later, they're like sending me plane tickets. They're like, yeah, we want to fly you here for this tour. I'm like, this is crazy. So life around 2018, 2019 was very, very good. I actually moved to Montreal because my partner Nari, she had an aunt who lived here for a few years, and she'd visited Montreal before. I'd never been here, and she told me, she's like, "You do know Montreal is the coolest city in Canada, right?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, classic English-speaking Canadian who's never been there. Like, Montreal is still a secret. It's a bit of a secret. Other people in other parts don't know so much about it. But I'm a traveler, and I wanted a new adventure, and I was also, Vancouver is too damn expensive, so I didn't want to go back there. So I decided, let's go. Let's try it out. And 3 years later, I'm still here, and
so Montreal is your base, right?
It's my base. I have my apartment here. I have everything here.
That's why I find you like a base in Montreal, because I like people enjoying Montreal and tell the stories about Montreal. You know, it's like we have a rivalry with Toronto, and as long as, you know, first, if you are a Toronto guy, and, you know, we're not a big fan, and then you're based in Montreal. And I remember one lady in your video saying, like, she's from Toronto, and she watched your video, and it's one of the reasons she moved to Montreal.
I remember her.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes people will stop me on the street, because it's my face, you know, it's very visual, and sometimes I can be shy. Like, sometimes when I'm walking around with my headphones, on occasion, like, if someone stops me, I'll be like, oh, what's going on? But it happens a few times where people are like, hey, like, and everyone's super cool. They're just like, hey, I've seen your videos, like, keep going, you know. And honestly, I don't make a lot of money from it. Even now, I told you I just have a new camera that I wanted, that I actually bought just before this.
Where did you get it today? Where did you get it? Best Buy?
No, shout out to what's the name? Gosselin Photo.
Okay, Gosselin.
Near Best Buy. They only opened a year ago, but they're like super friendly staff, and they're not paying me to say that. These guys are cool. Yeah. But the reason I'm upgrading is because I want to get more into.
But how do you know this technicality thing about the cameras and then the microphones, this audio thing? That's crazy.
YouTube is the best education you can get for stuff like that.
Okay.
There's a lot of. I mean, yeah, like before bed, I'll watch like tech YouTubers to learn about the new cameras. I've wasted, especially during quarantine, I wasted way too many hours learning about mics and learning about cameras and everything. And
that's if you're what you're doing, it's amazing. It's a time well spent.
And I want to get into, like, my plan for this summer is maybe to get into filming weddings or some events like that, which can frankly pay more money than the YouTube stuff. Because I mean, another way to do it is get a bunch of sponsors for the YouTube videos and then advertisements in every video. But I would rather have something outside where I can make money and just keep the videos kind of pure. Just keep it like, you know.
But I saw your, like, the Montreal, you have different, back then, and the French name, Hansik.
Oh, yeah.
That name, I have the problem with that name. The area, Hansik. Yeah, that, like, different areas, communities of Montreal. That's amazing. Like, because, like, if you have like more like a neighborhood of Montreal, that's a project you started, right? And then you kind of continue to post a little bit. And
it's still going. It's coming back this summer.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back. There's a few I really want to do. I want to do a video on Montreal North, the north of Montreal.
Laval, or even north to Laval.
I have a video. Well, Montreal North is south of Laval. The northest part of the island.
Okay.
It's where there's a huge Haitian community.
Okay.
It's a pretty unique place in Canada.
I lived all the 14, 15 years in like West Island. That's English community. I
really?
always
West Island.
Yeah. I live in 14, 15 years in West Island.
Even
Kirkland.
today.
Yeah, even today.
So you have to travel quite far.
Yeah, Kirkland. So my first year is in Saint Laurent. Saint Laurent, I lived 1 year rent apartment. And after that, 15 years in Kirkland. I'm a big fan of Kirkland.
Oh my God, man. When my friend visited me, two of my friends visited from Vancouver. This is embarrassing. I'm not going to say my address. I don't want people to know exactly where I live. But it's a street that there are two of them on the island of Montreal. And there's mine. Yeah. And then there's one in Kirkland.
Yeah, same street name.
Same name. So I gave them my address, but instead of saying rue, I gave them like the name with street.
Yeah.
Because I thought like, well, these people, they don't speak French. I'm just going to give them like my name in street.
Yeah.
And freaking Uber redirected them to Kirkland. So they're like, they like called me. It's like midnight. It's cold out too. It's like the start of winter. They're like, Dan, our Uber just dropped us. I'm like, I'm looking outside. I'm like, I don't see you. And they're like, yeah, it's all like nice houses out here. Like we're in this area called Kirkland. Yeah. I'm like, no, I live like the center. Like no, not at all.
Downtown Montreal.
Where are you? And it took them like 40 minutes to get an Uber to show up because they're in the middle of nowhere. I felt so bad. I was like, sorry guys, like I need to buy you a poutine for this embarrassing mix-up. But
it is weird. Like in Montreal, different cities they have the same street name.
And I was like, didn't you guys know? Like, I told you I live in the city, not like away. But
the West Island.
But when you just arrive somewhere new, like you have no idea. You're just like, whatever. I'll just follow the Uber.
Same street name. You have different cities in the island of Montreal. That's really messed up. It's really confusing.
Yeah, but it's cool that you have like one big island, you know.
But I really like your idea of different neighborhood. That's amazing because I think Montreal
maybe Chinatown. Maybe I could do one on Chinatown or the Chinese community within Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. That would be, because this a great city, and then like people not paying attention to like the gems or whatever the different communities. It's an amazing city, but like. We deserve like better coverage. Looks like a better coverage of this city.
Yeah, the tourists they just go to Old Montreal and they'll take the same photo with the Ferris wheel and
the St. Joseph of the what is that called? The dome, the biggest dome in North America.
Oh yeah.
The observatory. What is that? I always
St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph. Observatory. Yeah, I always have the problem with that name. But St. Joseph.
Actually, I've never been there.
It's amazing. I went once. It's super inside the building is super like deep, super tall.
I wonder if they would let a camera inside.
I think they should be okay.
Some places are strict, like museums. They don't like cameras. It's one of the parts of being a YouTuber that like some places when I'm traveling, I'll be at some museum and I'm trying to make a video about Mexico City, and they're like, no cameras. I'm like, you realize I'm literally bringing you more people.
More people. Yeah.
You're making money. I'm making nothing. You're making money off this video, and they're like, no cameras. I'm like, oh.
I guess you can like get the perspective from the perspective of the tourists, like from Europe and from United States. You can show them the different areas of Montreal. The old port is amazing. Like especially when you walk aside, taking a walk, it's amazing. Some neighborhood or some like landmark stuff, it's amazing. If you can, show them more of this, like you could be a great travel guide to Montreal. And Montreal is it's not fancy, You look at the building, it's always 5-story tall. Like it's not like the Manhattan something like impressive, but it has its own stuff. Like the Tantam, you should that thing. The first year I came here, like I saw people like sunbathing in the the Mount like Royal, the thing I saw the statue there, and then the Tantam. The people were dancing, whatever. I had a supervisor, like he's from Colombia. He brought me there, like one weekend, like with people like, I'm really bad at the rhythm, but he was good at the Colombian. He's a Colombian. Yeah. He's good at with the music. It's amazing. The same, very close to what you showed in the video, the tam tam thing. And I learned the French word tam tam for a drum.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Well, thank you. No, I'm really. It means a lot to hear this because To be honest, though, like I can't give anyone YouTube advice because I'm doing it wrong. You know, what works on YouTube is when you do the same kind of thing over and over. Like to build a successful channel, it's like find your video that does the best and kind of make the similar videos again and again. That's what grows a channel. But what I've been doing is I grow an audience in a country and then I leave. And then all the people who enjoy those videos are like, well, Dan, he's over. Let's see who else we can find. And then I grow a new audience. So when I moved to Montreal, it was like, I don't know. This is a big chance to start making videos here. The people who used to like the Mexico videos, most of them are not watching anymore. I need to build a new audience. And I started to build an audience in Montreal, and then I left again. And then people are like, Dan is gone. Now I'm coming back. It's like, will they remember me? But you remember me, so I appreciate it.
It's a pro and a con, you know. It's
yeah.
But I think from what I saw the video, you think a lot. Actually, you're really smart, and then you have think about the meaning of life. That's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're 31 years old. And it's amazing. Like for me, I kind of I worry. I think about, you know, if I have the ultimate freedom, I would do things totally never doing a restaurant, and never doing an IT job. I probably doing something like talking to political debating, or like meeting different ideas, putting them in a video, or putting them in words, writing, and that would be like I feel like. Achieve my life goals to explore ideas, to see like Western people, Canadian people, United States, American people, Chinese people. But Chinese, we don't talk about too much about political stuff. Even today, I never. That's why the video is in English. I never interview anybody in Chinese. That's tricky, to be honest. That's why I appreciate a lot of stuff here. It's but it's beauty of ideas. I always say that it's beauty of there's no wrong and right unless you kill somebody or harm somebody, right? Yeah. And a lot of stuff it's the pursuing of perfection, but you can never be imperfect. But it's avoid to be worse. A lot of times I think I would say like when you make decisions or your choices, and try avoid to be the worst, to choose the worst or the worst one. Just like try to be a little bit better. That's even I'm playing safe. All my life decisions, I try to play safe. I'm not brave enough. A lot of times I want to be brave, but I cannot give away a lot of things I have already to chase what I want.
That video that you liked, the one Montreal Love and Hate, I almost didn't make that one.
Okay.
Because first of all, I don't normally just do a video just asking strangers. Approaching strangers and just saying to someone like who you don't know. First of all, you need to stop them.
If you have met me in the street, ask the same question. I give you 10 I likes, 10 I hate. You know, that's amazing.
But just to ask us, like, I have some social anxiety just to approach even a pretty girl on the street. You know, I'm single now, but if you see a pretty girl and say, "Hey, you want to get a drink?" I can't do that, man. I start to shake. I have that anxiety, like a lot of people, about talking to strangers. So the idea, I'm going to take my camera and ask a stranger, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel. Like, can you tell me things you love and hate?" The first person I asked said no. Okay. The second person I asked also said no. And this person, a bit rude, they were just like, no. Like they didn't even like pretend interested. They were just like, no, not at all. I almost went home and quit. Okay. I'd asked 2 people. I'd been walking around for 10 minutes. I had 2 people I saw. I thought maybe they will say yes. They both said no. And then I was like, you know, like if another person says no, I think I'm just going to go home and cry. Like I'm not going to make this video anymore. And then the third person said yes. 2 young kids, I think. They said yes. And then the next person also said yes, and the next person. And then by the end, I felt great. I was like, I did it. I did something like journalism. I did something important today, you know?
But I guess you have a great personality. You're very approachable. Very great personality. Even like I wrote you email, you said yes. Because I'm a restaurant owner, a Chinese, like a small Chinese restaurant, and it doesn't have a good reputation. And then I have my silly video, the YouTube channel. I don't take it seriously at all. I don't edit, and then the quality of the video is really bad. And sometimes the volume isn't too low. But it's my side job. It's like I put 1% of my like effort in this little 1%. I'm cutting vegetables 99% of my time. But you say yes, and it's amazing. Like it's you have it's people's person. You're talking to people, even it's not worth something.
Because I remember being there. It's not that long ago that I remember being the one who is just like start some YouTube channel. I have no idea why I'm doing it. Why am I wasting all these hours editing this? What am I doing? But it's the love for sharing something.
Yeah, you're amazing. It's the personality. I can never be that open, to be honest. I always sometimes it's cynical. I'm cynical, and also I question people's intention sometimes. It's the old habit of where I grew up. I try to get rid of that, but sometimes it come back to haunt me. It's like, but myself, I try to be really believing. A lot of time I'm naive to believe something. I say, why do I fall into that kind of silly thing? But then I try to be really open to a lot of. But I really find people genuinely good. Genuinely like
me too.
It's amazing. Like it's like you see a lot of good people give you you feel like really positive about what will happen tomorrow or feel next year or whatever. That's why I find amazing. Like I wrote like for this video, I really want to see like people, what do they think about life in Montreal? Like what do they like? A lot of risks that I don't want to take, to be honest. I really don't want to take a lot. But when I see those people taking the risks, like doing something unusual path, the career choice, I really admire those people. Like, you guys really brave to, like, it's like you don't see like a stable career, something you don't see you can accumulate, or like you can more or less you feel secure, but like when I see that kind of people, they try their what they like to do, what they believe in, and then they put their effort in, and then they take the action. That's really amazing. Even I always say, I know those people I really admire. I know they're capable. They're really brave. I'm 100% sure I can never do that, but I do admire those people. I do see like.
I think you're too hard on yourself.
No. My whole life, I'm 40 something. When I'm 50 something, but when my daughter, she's 9, maybe she's 18 or 20. I probably be myself, to be honest. That time you will see a crazy old Chinese guy doing a lot of crazy stuff. That's what I can see. Like when I'm 60 years old, I will be starting to be myself. When I'm 60 years old or 70 years old.
Do you think about the future a lot? Like, where is this going with this technology and everything? Do you think we're just going to have our virtual reality headsets?
That would be silly. I follow Elon Musk a lot. Elon Musk said it's silly to have something the screen on your nose. But I do believe follow his lead. But virtual reality is kind of a little bit silly, the metaverse. I don't think metaverse is a hobby for the gamers. If you play a lot of video games, that's amazing. You will feel like it's more realistic, and then you have the experience of the 3D, the environment feel. But for the majority of the people, I don't think that would be a huge thing. But the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency, that's a connection between the virtual world to the real world. That's a dangerous connection. For me, my understanding, it's a dangerous connection, because in the metaverse, you have a property, you live to Snoop Dogg, for example. Your property worth a lot of money, like 10 Bitcoins. And then in the virtual world, the metaverse, you can sell that for 10 Bitcoin. And in the real life, you can cash that 10 Bitcoin. That's crazy. That's the link. I see that's a dangerous link from the virtual to the real.
Well, why is it dangerous?
Because you will attract more people to go to that, non-existing space.
We're all going. Even you. One day you'll be on a virtual. You'll be doing this podcast in your virtual world.
But you see, even the real world, the policing is already difficult. The law enforcement already difficult in the real world.
Yeah.
But think about the same thing in the virtual world. It's not doable. It's mission impossible. That's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
That's not. But for me, my understanding is for the gamers, for the people who really like video games, that's amazing. Whatever you want to enjoy there, you enjoy there. You kind of make it more real, and you have wife, you have the fancy neighbors, you have the concert, you have the live events. It's amazing. But majority of people, they're gonna stay. That you have wife, you have a husband, you have children, you have job to do. But once the cryptocurrency is the link between the virtual, it's like from the dead to the live. You're the dead world, and then somehow they can bring the value back to the real life. That's a danger link. I really that worries me. That worries me a little bit, because when you see the people are chasing after the benefits, the profit. When you see people getting super rich by the NFT thing, like when they see the real money, they can make tons of money. So they're gonna chase that. They're gonna affect the real people life.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the NFTs.
That's kind of for me, it's crazy. For the people, they sell art. Some people, they're not even artists. Artists, we need to support them. But that's the heaven for artists, though. Artists, they can easily make something cool, and then they can do the NFT in that virtual world, and they can get some value out of it. That's a good thing for them. I guess that's the good time for the artists. That thing is a good thing for them. But some of them, even not artists.
No, I have some friends who are photographers who are making money off NFTs. Yeah. I don't want to say NFTs are bad, because
but I really like think about life, the meaning of life, everything, the different political systems, the ideas of people, and the risks people are taking, and the choices, life choices. For me, that's amazing. If I die tomorrow, or when I die, I have seen so many different ideas, so many different people. I feel really happy. I feel I achieved something. I feel like I have seen the world. Like even being a restaurant owner, literally, I'm death sentence to travel. I cannot travel. It's a death sentence to travel. I cannot leave the restaurant for a whole week, because I need to buy the vegetable like twice a week.
Do you miss it? You miss traveling sometimes?
I only traveled before my wife was pregnant. Yeah. We went to France and Paris and Rome, like 2 weeks. We knew having a baby is not easy to travel. So we took that chance, took that time to Europe for that. But after that, I only went one time after the restaurant to China to visit my parents.
Back to the town.
Yeah, back to the village.
Has it changed, or is it still the same place?
The mentality of people thinking still the same. That's one day, if I'm good at the video thing, I want to bring a iPhone to the village to interview the old people, the people who 70, 80 years ago. I really want to in Chinese language. I put an English subtitle.
Maybe I can help you with that.
Yeah, to see.
Let's go.
To ask their stories about opinion, what happened in China, what happened in the 1980s. And then I put an English title with my dialect. My dialect in the village is amazing. Nobody in the city could understand. We have our own dialect, accent. It's amazing. So I will talk to the old people. We used to, when I was 5, they were like 40, 50 years old. And now some of them dead already. But some people, the village, sometimes they just ask you, have you eaten? They always start with, have you eaten?
Yeah.
And also they're going to ask you directly, how much money do you make in Canada? How much money? And how many children do you have?
Yeah.
And are they living underneath our foot? Seriously, they were asking they say America, Canada, they are living underneath our feet.
Because the world is...
Yeah.
They're upside down over there, yeah.
They were saying they live underneath tens of thousands of meters deep.
Oh my God.
So some of them, I when I was young, I worked with them, hard laboring. So it's kind of, they're dying. A lot of them, they're dying. So they had their opinions about Chairman Mao time. They had their opinions about Deng Xiaoping opening up and the reform, and then the current leadership. Because the material, the life, they improved a lot. To be honest, in the village, some family they own cars already, and it's a lot. The people they go to. I'm 42, 43. The buddies I grew up, they went to big cities we call migrant workers. They were treated badly in the city. They looked down, civil. But they bring money every year, end of the year, to the village to support their family, their kids. A lot of time, both parents, they gonna go out to the city to work in a factory, and then only time they came back is the Chinese New Year. They spend 1 week or two. That's why they have a lot of kids growing up with the grandparents. So grandparents that's in their 60 or 70, they're too old to find a job in the factory.
Yeah.
So the middle generation, they
just
both
work.
Yeah, only like a week or two they can spend time with their own children.
It's hard life.
But they were super happy because comparing to before, it's much better. So now you can have fridge. Before, what kind of, is that fridge or whatever? Now they have, even the village, they have AC units, air conditioner. Last time I went there, like some families, they had, you see the units there outside. Oh, you have AC, nice. In the winter you have heating, and in the summer you have cooling. Never, it's not thinkable like 20, 30 years ago. And they have a washing machine, like the washing machine, you can have like the water just come out and the clothes inside is done. It's amazing. So their perspective is very different. So they feel like the huge improvement to their lifestyle.
Yeah, I heard someone once say that the washing machine is actually one of the most important inventions in the whole world.
Yeah.
Because especially for women, because before the washing machine,
they could sit on
the average woman, that was your day. You were literally washing clothes for hours, and hours. It just took forever. But then the washing machine was like just this miracle that freed time from billions of humans every single week. And like you don't normally think of that today. It's just like, whatever, you just throw it in, the machine does what it wants. But before that,
save a lot of time. But if I, for example, if I have a lot of time, after the pandemic, if I have chance to, my father was 70, he was born in 46, 76 already. She's 76.
Wow.
She was interested. I'm writing a book as well in Chinese and then translate to English. I'm writing my whole, because from village to the city. So
about your life?
Yeah. It's an autobiography. But like a year ago, I was asking about when was my grandparents died, the grandfather, grandmother died. When I called my father, asked, my father get only 3 years education in his whole life. My mother could get 0 education. My mother could not read or write. So my father he was so smart. He was asking, "Are you writing a book?" Yeah. When I was asking about his parents, like when his dad died, and what happened to his early life. And he was asking me, he realized like I was writing a story about his life or my story. And he was super supportive. He said, I really want to, I said, I admitted to say I had an idea to write a book about my life because I've seen so much about different style of life, or my the village life, city life, and then the living in Canada. So he was super supportive. He said, that's a great idea. He's told me. Actually, he wanted to see the book. He wanted to see like what I would write about my memory about him, about the whole village life, about my ideas about the whole country. That's really supportive. I wrote 20 pages already in Chinese, but I would never publish that in Chinese. I would give the Chinese version to my dad to let him to see like, is the story accurate or something. But I also want to interview my uncles and aunts to see like what their memory about myself, and then their memory about the life of the 1980s, 1990s, early 2000. but then I don't want to publish anything in Chinese in the language, but would like after my dad saying like it's okay, this version is kind of more or less accurate, so I'm gonna translate that totally in English. Somehow, if that may happen, I will publish when I'm 60 years old to publish a book about my whole life in English.
I mean, we live in a very important time, a transition time from the old ways to the new ways.
I'm really surprised. My father he was really smart, and I admired him his whole life in the village. But he's so quick to understand something. 3 years ago, before the pandemic, I brought my daughter like first time when she was 6 to the village to see the grandparents from my side. When I discussed a lot of things I saw outside of the country, the Western way of thinking, and he was suspicious. He was we literally had a deep discussion about how the society is organized, how the meaning of life, like what you achieve, like when you alive, like what's like that's really amazed me. Like for me, my father was super intelligent. The problem, he was living a time and the place, he was so restricted of the resources, whatever around him. So he was confined, but his capability is supposed to be really amazing. So 3 years ago, I had that conversation with my father, like my dad, like different topics, really amazing. And then like a year ago, the phone conversation really shocked me. I thought I was sneaky to say like I kind of get some timeline of like what happened to his life, like sneaky, and like he figured right away, and he was super supportive. Like for me, it's really surprising. Like his generation and his 70 something, his view on the world, everything was really limited. The information he got, and he only got 3 years of education. And that was really shocking. So that gave me even the confidence. Maybe I inherited something amazing. Seriously, I really find like, even you are confined with your geographic location and your access of information, but still his logic, his thinking is really amazing. Really shocked me. That time, like a year ago, like really I feel like, geez, my father was really amazing. And then like I was the lucky one to get out of that kind of space. I had a chance to see Montreal. It's 16 years in Montreal, and I see different ideas. I was really smart, like smartization 20 years ago. I spent all my life learning English. I really spent way too much time on English. Yeah, and then
it paid off in the end.
Yeah, the language is the window. Like I follow a lot of stuff. I listen to CBC radio all the time. As it happens, the Carol off. Even she interviewed me, like the live radio. My English was not too bad for the live interview. Like as it happened, and I listened a lot of as it happened. It's very quality program, and even the Q, the CBC Q, the Gianco machine. What is the Iranian? He was a scandal, big scandal.
Yes.
But before the scandal, his program was amazing. The Q, but the Q after Django machine, never the same.
Never the same.
Never the same. Django machine is really good. So that's the CBC was big. When I was interviewed last year, 2021, by like Carol Off on the live on the As It Happens, was really amazing. Maybe one question I did not understand completely or something.
Only one, not bad.
Yeah, but it's really amazing, and I had the chance. I have the chance to kind of watch a lot of things happening in English world. It's really a blessing. And then I found you guys, and then it's like is. But for me, the Guatemala and the
You know,
Mexico, the videos, I'm not too much because I'm not planning visiting
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But in
It's like
Montreal, it's amazing. And even the north and the Yellow Life, the guy was super cool. You were
oh
interviewing.
yeah, Paige. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
guy.
the page.
Yeah,
It's
there'll be
amazing.
more Canadian videos coming soon. Don't
Yeah,
worry,
yeah.
don't worry.
I really like everything happening in Montreal and in Canadian. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It gives you people a lot of information. You
Yeah.
know, is like for me it's amazing, especially the people explain what's happening in Montreal. The Montreal is really great city to deserve, you know, deserve the spotlight, for deserve the topics. If you could explain more like Chinatown or like Italians, more little Italian, little Italy, yeah, little Italian, the
Milan,
Saint Leonard,
so many. Yeah,
yeah,
Saint Laurent.
Anjou is my set
Yeah.
place. My second restaurant in Anjou was a total
See, I don't have
failure.
a car, so some of these areas I have less experience with just because geographically, you know, I ride the Bixie, so I know this area well.
Yeah.
But
A lot of areas, amazing.
yeah, I need
Griffin
to.
Town,
If any car
St.
rental,
Henry, they have
I need
the
to
gentrification. The
Yeah.
gentrification is the thing. Like for a Chinese, for me, I could understand the people against
Oh, yeah.
gentrification because it's making it better. But for people for the staying the same place, gentrification was a new word I learned 3 years ago because I learned the news. I was watching the news about the St. Henry gentrification. That's amazing. At least I learned a new word.
Yeah.
Like gentrification was a strange word for me. But like the background of me, I always want to improve, right? If you can improve the look or the level of the area, it could be a better thing, right? Good thing. But then people saying gentrification is bad. Or, you know,
It's good when it helps the people from the communities.
Yeah.
I think it's bad when
you push out people.
Well, yeah, people are, especially a place like Montreal that has been affordable for so long. There's a city with lots of artists, lots of people who don't make a lot of money, and they're afraid that, okay, everyone from Toronto they don't want to live there, it's too expensive anymore. They move to Montreal, and then they all have expensive condos, and then the people who really built the city can't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah. That's a dilemma. You have to, you know, if you want to move upgrade the city, you know, but you know, you cannot live all the, you know, if you always have the countryside level of the expense, you know, but you cannot achieve the status of a mega city like New York City, Manhattan, right?
I think Montreal is doing good things overall. I think, you know, there's areas, Griffin Town, where you're building up, so people who want that life can have it. You want a big, busy life, you have those areas. If you want a quieter, like you have areas like Plateau where they're not building any tall buildings, they're keeping the historic feeling. So like,
but that's like
very different sides.
But that's
to
like
the
view of planning. Sometimes it's not like a planning. If you plan something, it's like playing the God's view. I don't know, in Chinese we have the God's view, from the view of God. So you see through everything. So you plan things. It's like American politics. Like you see, the things happen this way. It looks like that's from the above to see like is a good thing or bad thing to happen this way. But the reality is, it's the lot of sides they fight to come to a standstill, or like to see the result from fighting, instead of somebody planned it or designed it. That's why I like sometimes the the United States, the politics is not something they designed or something. It's the different teams, different camps, they fight to that kind of result. You know, it's like the Montreal, whatever you just let them fight. Let them, if you want to develop this area, somebody can bid a higher price. They give you a better idea to draw a picture. And then if you can realize the picture, good for you. And then like somehow this place is too expensive. I move to a next neighborhood. Probably the next neighborhood could be more artistic, you know, because more people are gonna move. Okay, finding this nice niche place is more artistic. More people gather together to make it even cooler. You know, it's because you stay here.
It will always move.
Yeah.
A city will always evolve.
Yeah,
it will
exactly.
Always grow. It will always change.
So the gentrification,
if you're not growing, you're dying. You know.
Yeah, if like it, since it does not like you live here for 10 years, doesn't mean like you have the right or you feel like you should stay here for like next 30 years or 40 years. Sometimes you can move as well, to find a better place to suit you better, or get them. Some people find this want to develop a nice building, let them do it or whatever. It's weird. It's a dilemma. It's a balance.
Yeah.
It's a
no. There has to be the balance.
you don't force too much. By.
But I think it's also that's part of the DNA of Montreal. It's what makes this place special. Is that people here, Quebec people. Okay, that's the end, or else I'll be very very drunk on my bike ride. But
Actually, my wife will drive, I guess. It's good.
It's good sake, but that will be my limit. But I think it's part of the DNA of this city. People here like to not complain, but they like to debate. They like to argue. They like to protest. You've seen the protests about everything here, whether it's languages, whether it's the police, gentrification,
or the Red Square,
climate change.
The Red Square is for the students, right?
Yeah, exactly. Quebec has the cheapest university fees in all of Canada.
Yeah, all Canada. Yeah.
Because first of all, the whole country, we're cheaper than the United States. Like we're doing better than them. But in places like Vancouver, where I studied for a bit, okay, every year they try to raise the tuition 5%, 5%, 5%. They do it bit by bit by bit, and then people don't protest. They complain. People say, "Oh, they're raising again."
So even the UBC, the tuition for the UBC,
every year they raise it. They raise it. They raise it.
That's not friendly.
Yeah. But in Montreal, when they tried to raise it like a few years ago.
No.
Not just that, the students did a walkout.
That's the Red Square, right?
Yeah, all the students stopped going to. I wasn't here at the time. Yeah, that might be the Red Square.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called. All the students, they stopped going to class.
They have pieces of cloth. The pieces of cloth.
Yeah, they stop. They protest. They shut down the schools. And then finally, like they keep the tuition the same because they're like, wow, they won. The protesters, you won.
So at the end, we do have the spirit of the French people. People,
exactly. And so you can say like sometimes it's like, oh, okay, people here are always complaining, always protest about something. Well, guess what? It works. And sometimes you keep rights by doing that. And if you don't fight back, then everything changes. So it's one of the things I respect.
Crying babies always have the milk.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to cry more.
Babies of Montreal education system.
It's good. It's as long as it's balanced,
I actually want to do a video about student life, like at McGill or something like that.
Tons of people are gonna be in the video. I guess they're gonna be happy in the video.
I thought about going there for Frosh. It's like the first weekend where everyone parties from the schools. But then I was like, I'm old now. I'm not a student anymore. But I can't just go there on my old. I'll be like the old guy, like without a kids.
You can pass. You can pass.
No, but
with your look, it's fine.
I've been talking to a couple of McGill students. Like maybe next year I'll get a student to help me.
I have a lot of
introduce me to that world.
Yeah, our restaurant has a lot of customers from McGill students. I talk to them a lot of times. I used to talk to I find them young. A lot of them from McGill.
But again, I need to use the bathroom. I don't know if we're going to go.
I guess we can wrap up.
If we are wrapping up, I'll wait.
We can wrap up. I need to drive to West Island, to be honest. It's almost 9:04 already.
But no, I just want to say, as I drink my last cup of sake, it's been an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Is there a name to your series?
It's called Eat with the Owner. So I'm the owner. I invited the people eat with the owner.
I knew I was eating with the owner. I didn't know the show was called Eat with the Owner. Well, it's
actually, when I Google the Eat with the Owner, sometimes it's like the dogs eating with the owner. So it's a bad name, I guess.
Yeah, when you search on YouTube, it will be me next to the dog getting fed the potato chip or whatever. But no, it's been an honor. The food has been great.
It's great.
Conversation's been great, and
I guess we can talk a lot after this. If you want me in your video or whatever, we can even offline. We can talk about the stuff politics, the Montreal life and ideas.
And it's interesting that you talk about the meaning of life. because I actually have a project where I ask people about the meaning of life.
I think a lot every day.
But so I'll have to another day. We'll have to meet again and talk about that.
I think a lot of that because I don't know. Having a Chinese restaurant is not my first choice ever. Never. Now I'm stuck right now. Literally, I'm stuck with this business. I'm literally stuck. I don't like being an IT engineer. I want to be something good at the communication, but I'm a technical guy. I've been the IT guy for 18 years.
Yeah. What if you started doing videos around the city like I do?
No way.
You just sit by a little camera and go show people these neighborhoods.
Not my thing. First of all, my English is not good enough, and also, you know, it would be weird, like a Chinese guy, like a weird Chinese guy to show around Montreal or whatever. That's not my thing. My thing is like if I can talk to people like you. Like if we can have more like later on like a lot of ideas, even it's controversial. Like I remember one of the guy I'm not right, but I watched this video from the Jordan Peterson or
Jordan Peterson
or Peter Jordan. Oh
no, Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. One interview he said, if you want your opinion heard, you're not afraid of offend other people, right? He said that like you always offend some people if you want your opinion heard.
Yeah.
But I'm not that guy. I don't want to offend anybody. I want to be a nice guy. I don't want to
offend Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, exactly. but he betrayed himself. When he brought the hammer, bring out the hammer. Yeah. So it's end of his being nice.
But that's what I mean. Someone will get offended because you said this. Someone will get offended because you had some deep fried chicken. Some person will be offended because you have a ponytail. That's their problem, not yours.
I want to play safe. I'm a soft guy. I'm really soft. So that's why I cannot have the public debate on too strong opinion. I cannot have strong opinions because I don't want to offend people. You know, it's my nature. I want to play safe. You know, playing safe is a big thing for me.
I mean, yeah.
It's another word is coward.
No, man.
I'm not brave.
The internet, the comment section is like a war. You know, like the comment section, like. I get comments like someone commented.
Unfortunately, I don't have people watching my video to have a lot of comments, so it's great for me.
People are like, "Dan, you look so skinny. Are you sick? Like, Dan, are you okay?"
Being skinny is a great thing right now.
And if I was fat, they'd be like, "Dan, like, lay off the donuts, bro. Like, what's wrong with you?" So
Tim Hortons, please.
Whatever your appearance is, whatever your ideas are. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people on the internet who have too much free time. They're not working. They're feeling bad about themselves. So what they do is they try to make other people feel bad. And if you just remember, like, these people are going through something bad in their life, and the hate that they're directing at me is actually coming from them, then at the end of the day, their views don't matter so much to you anymore. You just do what you want to do. And sometimes it's hard, but I try not to worry too much about judgment from others,
I just want to be nice to be safe. But I'm really curious about people's ideas. But I, at the same time, don't want to offend people. That's the thing. The dilemma is I want to see, but I don't want to contribute too much. I don't want to give out too much, but I want to get something. That's the thing. But it's a contradicting. I always contradict myself. A lot of time I change my ideas crazy. Yesterday my opinion, today I may change. That's my thing. I'm soft. If you say like, what are you saying today is wrong? Sorry, I'm gonna change right now. That's why I cannot achieve a lot of things. I don't say I would achieve anything significant. I always like. But being a low profile, low profile or the soft person, it fits me really well. If you say like my opinion is too strong, I take back. Come on, okay, I take back whatever you want. But I do admire people who have a strong opinion, a brave people. I really admire people, a strong personality, strong, brave people. I really admire, but I may not have the courage to admire them publicly. because I admire this person, like saying, I like this guy. But if I say that publicly, it do damage to me. So I probably keep that to myself. But I may sponsor, I may support him. This kind of people, privately, quietly.
Yeah. No, the people in society who tell the truth about things are
really brave. You know,
really brave and taking a huge risk. You know, like whatever your view is politically, whatever you think, it doesn't matter. People who say something that powerful people dislike, they can't sleep as well at night because something bad could happen to them someday in the future, right? Or like something, you know, some crazy person who thinks you are an asshole for what you said could come up and stab you on the subway or something. Like, you are putting your own life at risk for an idea. And but that's bravery. You might agree with the idea, you might not, but it doesn't matter. You need a society where people can safely share ideas, because that's, at the end of the day, the better idea will win. You can debate, you can have your views, but
it's called market for ideas, right?
Yeah,
I really believe that thing. Like when I started learning English, I really believe that for the idea of the free market of the ideas. That's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, YouTube is a free market. If I do a video about Montreal and no one clicks on it, no one likes it, and then the video fails, and then someone else's goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hate it. I can be like, oh, that video is so bad. But the market of ideas, that one won. People like that one better. So come with a better idea and try again next time. Happens to me all the time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Anything you want to add?
No. If anyone's watching, thanks for making it to the end. And
super long. Super boring, not boring. You know, it's amazing people, amazing person, but it's very long video to be honest.
Yeah, and if I said anything stupid, blame it on the sake.
It's the sake. The problem of the Japanese, Japanese fault. Why do they invent this sake thing, and it's kind of very deceiving. Yeah, this very deceiving. Very easy to go down.
It's like the samurai sword. It looks nice, but then
exactly.
Dangerous.
Cut you off half. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm
honored
to be here.
Yeah, thank you, and hope we can have more ideas.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Finish again.